Peace, family. It's your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Welcome to Night School. Every night here on the Marc Lamont Hill official channel, we break down the biggest issues, the most pressing debates, the most controversial subjects in the world today. But we don't do drive-by analysis. We don't do superficial cable news talking points. We have a deep dive because this is a global classroom. And tonight I am joined by one of my favorite people in the whole world, my dear brother, Van Lathan. What's happening, man?
What up, Mark? How you doing, brother?
I'm okay, man. I just came back from the Congressional Black Caucus. I don't even call it the convening, the conference, whatever the hell you call it. It's all them Negroes down in DC for a week. I went down there for the day to do a session on Palestine and something with Kimber Smith on criminal justice. I get it. I'm exhausted from all them bougie people at one time.
What is the general temperature amongst that crowd when it comes to Palestine? I'm interested.
Like it's like going to any NAACP meeting or any, it's as progressive as it's ever been, but that's a low bar. They don't care. Most people don't care. It was me,
Right.
Rashida Tlaib, Corey Bush, and the sister
Mehdi Hassan. I saw you with Mehdi Hassan on there.
Yeah, and Mehdi hosting it, and they gave us like the smallest room in the building. You know what I mean? And it was people lined up outside. There was a lot of activists came, things like that. But they're not feeling it. They tried to cancel it from what I'm hearing on the low.
Yeah.
So, but it was good to see Corey Bush. It was good to work with Corey Bush again, before the end of her term. So that was the good part.
Yeah. I thought about you now that you're in the independent media sphere. I thought about you last week when that news broke that Tenet Media was funding all of those voices. I thought about, because, we were talking about earlier on when you're first getting your channel started, what people need to make things financially viable, right? Because like you're trying to get a channel up, you're trying to get views. Oh my God, you're trying to get views, you're trying to get momentum. And just to know that those guys were making like $400,000 for a video, I was like, man, I called a lot of people in the independent media space. I didn't get a chance to get up with you, just wondering what you thought about that.
My head was spinning, yo. I was like, I mean, it's why the winners keep winning. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you get that kind of support, that kind of funding, you have time to make mistakes. You got time to experiment. You got time to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And they don't have a whole lot of principles on them cats, so they don't care about the message they have to offer to do it. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
For me, it's tough, man. I'm over here like, I really want to talk about Palestine. Let me squeeze one Diddy story in so that I can pay these bills. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of like dilemma you have to make as an independent content maker. I tend to not do it. Like last night, we had these great stories on a Michigan judge. We had a great story on Israel and blah, blah, blah. And I had like a fifth story on Diddy and the charges, and I was like, it just doesn't fit this show. And even though it'll cut well, and even though the views will do good, and even though it'll help pay some bills, like I can't do it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you feel like people want to hear about the Diddy stuff from you? Does it do well when you put it out there? Do you feel like it's a necessary evil? Because I would think that a lot of people would be like, I want to hear Marc Lamont Hill on Diddy. I want to hear Marc Lamont Hill on W.E.B. Du Bois. The boys.
So that's the good thing about you.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear me talk about Diddy, but there's a million people out there,
right,
who just really want to hear about Diddy, and they don't care who has to say. So the people who watch my Diddy videos don't even know who I am. They don't subscribe. They don't join.
They just search Diddy, and it's like, oh, this guy's explaining Diddy. Blah blah blah. Boom. I feel what you. I see what you mean.
Exactly. And so it's no harm, no foul. My audience has to sit through it for night school. But if the next day I put it out as clips, it's not a big deal because again, it's like a famous act. It's like when Vinny Chase on Entourage went over to Japan to do that commercial because he needed money. It's like nobody gonna see it.
Yeah.
Logic of it. I'm breaking down that wall a little bit for my audience too, because I know sometimes they be wondering like, why are we talking about this? Now you know. That's not cool. That's how we can afford to talk about the shit no one else is talking about. I noticed your not your homegirl, but the a certain individual, Candace Owens, got kicked off of YouTube.
Is that true? That's your homegirl.
That's not my homegirl. Look, people they banned her like 3 days ago. She was really upset about it.
Why? What happened? I mean, to me, I will say this about Candace, though. I'll say that it's interesting to see in the post, where was she at? She was at
Daily Wire. And
the
before
Daily
that,
Wire.
Trigger,
It'll be
yeah.
interesting to see what she does with her post Daily Wire career. And you wonder if she shot all the bullets out of her gun yet, or if she has more. I mean, she obviously has a huge following. She's good at what she does in the way that she does it. But why did they kick her off YouTube? I did not see this.
So here's what happens, right? She gets fired from the Daily Wire for criticizing Israel, talking about the genocide, challenging Rabbi Shmuley and a couple other people. Honestly, I agreed with her on like a lot of the stuff. And she basically was saying, y'all aren't going to call me anti-Semitic just because I don't agree with the genocide. And she said, look, as a Christian, I can't support an Israeli genocide. I just can't, right? That's where it goes. So then, Ben Shapiro says he didn't do anything, but he's very influential there and he does have ownership interest in the channel. He was leaking all these things about her. They were all leaking things about her to the press. End of the day, they fire her. She says, all right, I'm gonna go on my own. She had 3 million YouTube subscribers through Daily Wire. So now she has to start over on the muscle. Within a week, she had 1.5 million.
Yeah, big voice.
1 million, and it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And she's making money. She's getting enough views to really make it make sense. She's killing the game. And then earlier this week, she airs an interview. Oh, well, actually, she airs the interview with Kanye.
I remember that.
And that's kind of all it really takes. But she also was getting a little too into, she wasn't just sticking to the critiques of Israel. She started to say things that sounded anti-Semitic. And she started interviewing people who were anti-Semitic, like Kanye, or at least airing the interview. And so she basically says, though, that they came after her. Like, she had no strikes on her account. And then within like an hour, she had 3 strikes. And if you get 3 strikes, you're done. So, and the person had like 1 follower, but they were just reporting the content, reporting it for hate, reporting it for all these things. So she feels like it's a conspiracy, which, plays into the tropes, but also, I mean, my personal feeling is she said some shit that was anti-Semitic and they called her on it and they pulled her down.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Candace Owens thing in terms of the Daily Wire is interesting just because I think she forgot what she was there for. And, I never told you this before, but I was at TMZ. When I was at TMZ, I might have said it before on here on Night School, but when I was at TMZ, we get into these vague, amorphous cultural discussions. And the discussions would be about, whenever you're in a room full of white people in culture, the question is always going to become, okay, why can't we say the N-word? They say it in music. They, all of those same boring conversations we've been having since like 1996. And we have these conversations and they'd rationalize it. They use logic. They'd say, well, if I buy a song and the song has a word in it, I should be able to say that word. And you go back and forth and you have the same old. And Lil Dicky came out. And when Lil Dicky came out, Lil Dicky would say the K word in some of his raps.
Yeah.
And we had set up a shot with Lil Dicky. And they asked me to ask the camera guy, like, what the camera guy should ask. And I had the camera guy ask if Lil Dicky is okay with anyone who bought any of his records saying that, knowing that wasn't a thing, right?
Right.
The question never even made it to air because when we were doing the show the next day, they were so outraged. And I remember
at the
question, which, by the way, I have absolutely no desire to say that word.
Of course.
No desire to say that word, right?
It's not everything people do.
Right. Is I have zero desire to say that. But if the rationale was, well, this kind of tells you guys some of the trouble I've been making there for a while. If the rationale was, well, if you buy a song, you should be able to say whatever is inside of the song. I'm like, well, if I hold you, yeah, right. Never made it. Got mad. I remember one of the guys who was a friend of mine, still is, was, man, are you trying to say you want to be able to say the K word? And I'm like, no. Are you guys trying to say that you guys want to say the N word? You guys, you said that pretty explicitly. I bring that up to say this. I wasn't there to challenge their culture. That's not why I was there. Right? I was there to either defend mine or be a cog in the wheel to give them cover to do it and say that they had a black guy in the room. I wasn't there to ask those same questions. And Candace forgot that. Candace was there to attack us. To give them cover in calling out what's wrong with our culture and what we do wrong and all of that. She wasn't there to take stances on Israel, and she wasn't there to make observations about the geopolitical ramifications of what was going on in that region. And she wasn't there to really give that. She forgot what her job was. Now, that's different than Kanye West. Kanye West went into a protracted black hole of lunacy, to where he repeated some of the most disgusting, the most reprehensible tropes, and said that he loved Adolf Hitler. So she should know better. She should know better. Mark, don't say it, bro. She should know. She should know better.
I'm not even thinking it.
Like she should know better than to upload that after all of this time, because especially that interview just doesn't serve her or serve anyone. Kanye doesn't have anything to add.
Do you get so ensconced in the colorblind narrative and that you're just one of us thing and the popularity that you actually forget that you're there to just be the attack dog?
You know, I don't want to. This is the difference between me and a lot of other people. It's a black lady at the end of the day, and so I want to be as charitable as I can be in my response. But the honest answer is, I don't know. I don't know if, like, I've talked to people before, and after talking to them, I feel like they're mythomaniacs. Like, they've chemically started to believe some of the things that they probably know aren't true, or the emotional response to whatever that they're saying is so strong that they don't take the time to legislate it after a while, and it just doesn't make any sense. It's not going through any sort of a process. So with her, my gut tells me it's a very direct and obvious grift. But if that was the case, I would wonder why she would take the stance that she took
on Israel,
because it seemed like she really believed it.
Right. It's like in anthropology, we talk about going native, or like there's this moment where you lose your shit. Like, if it's a grift, and I tend to not assume people are grifting. And
I do. Same here. Yeah, same here.
I think people just be wrong, or I think people convince themselves of things. I don't think most people walk into the room with a hustle. Like, Jesse Lee Peterson does not walk into the room with guile. He is just
that's different.
Really?
Yeah, dog. Come on, Mark.
I think he's stupid and hates himself.
Yeah, but Mark, he's doing a comedy bit. That's like, he was just a little early. Had he been a little later, he'd have been even more of a sensation. He's hysterical,
but not on purpose.
But yes, he is hysterical on purpose. You can't tell me that's an act, dog. First of all, a lot of the things that he was talking about in regards to other people and their sexuality, now there are all kinds of credible questions about why he might have been projecting in that way. But even beyond that,
but that's every black preacher in America, damn near.
I get it, but even that is part of selling an image that's not true. But when you're talking to someone and you go, you're a beta male, come on, man. Like, there was a part of that, the children of the lie, like calling Trump the great white hope. That's all of that's an act, dog.
I think he genuinely, if you strapped him to a polygraph right now, he would say white people's ice is colder, and would absolutely believe it. like without
Okay.
a doubt. Now, I think the contradictions are there, like the whole, why are you gay? I hate gay people, and then
Yeah.
yeah, and then these allegations again. I don't know if they're true or not, but they're very strong and credible allegations that have gone on for decades.
Right.
And you say, well, wow, how can you be homophobic and not, and clearly struggling with this issue? And it's like, okay, I get all of that, but I don't know. I think Candace got converted into it. But again, it's easy to start believing the shit if it's profitable. That's the part of it that I think people miss. It's like, yeah, like if you gave me $1 million, if every day you fed me and clothed me and sheltered me my whole life, and I was like an orphan, yeah, I might start believing in Jesus, or I might start believing in Buddha, or I might start, you know what I mean? Because it's not that you made me do it, but there's something, it's a compelling argument and doing it under duress.
Yeah. I mean, look, there was an interview that she did with your old friend, Destiny, not too long ago. And some of the things that she said in the interview, I know she just can't believe those things. Like she said that, most of the people she said most of the people that she knows, and he did a good job with her. I mean, say whatever you want about him, all he does is debate people all day long, all the time. So he's pretty sharp at it. She said that people that go to college, she doesn't think are as literate as people who don't go to college, which just, I mean, it's just not true, right? It's like, and I have a problem. Like, I have a problem thinking that she believes that. I think it's part of a narrative that she crafts, right? It's part of and we could have a conversation, by the way, about how much college serves you and the differing ways that people should kind of get into the next phase of their life after their high school years, entrepreneurship, trade schools, all different types of situations, right? We can talk about that, right? We don't have to we can talk about also what higher education looks like and what that means and whether or not that's a grift in a way for kids who can't pay for it and the loans. And we could talk about all of that stuff and have a conversation about it, right? But to say that people that go to college on average are less literate than people who don't go to college, she's got to know that that's not true. You know what I mean? And so he's having that conversation with her and just a bunch of different things. You see her glom onto something and stick onto something. We all know that she's smart. So there are times where I go, she can't believe the things that she's saying.
I'm not saying she's not smart. Okay, so and let me say this as a caveat: when I say people are smart or not smart, it's like I'm not saying it with any ego. I mean, I'm saying it based on my profession. It's like if LeBron says somebody's athletic, right? It's like there's levels to it, right? Like she's smart the way like regular people are smart, right?
Oh my God, did y'all hit Mark? Talk your shit. Oh my Lord, I've never heard you talk like that before. You are the LeBron of this thinking shit. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. Mark, talk your shit to these motherfuckers.
I'm more of a TJ McConnell of this thinking shit. But the point is, like, if I'm in the NBA and I say somebody's athletic, it's different than saying like some, you know what I mean? So it's like I'm athletic, I could dunk, right? But I'm not basketball athletic.
Athleticism in the pickup gym is different than athleticism in the D2 gym, in the D1 gym. And it's different. It's different.
I'm watching Chris Paul and Steph Curry doing East Bay funks and shit in the warm-up lines, like it's nothing.
Right.
You know, no one will call them athletic. Relative to the NBA. Similarly, Candace is smart in LA fitness. You know, but would you put her up against, you know what I'm saying? Pros, and it's like you're not. But the problem is this social media shit, and this is no disrespect to Candace. I think Candace is smart. I just think that the YouTube space places smart people next to really, really, really smart people. So it's like now you're in the celebrity basketball game, and it looks cute for a minute when people aren't playing hard. But when you start applying pressure, it looks different. But you can't tell the difference. So I don't think that. I think there are moments where she is holding on to an idea or a thought or an argument that she thinks is bodying people because she's in LA fitness. And you know what I mean? And then for a moment or two, it looks good in the celebrity game.
Right.
But don't try to come to real practice because now we're reaching.
Yeah, look,
That's her.
Part of standing out and making points is about emotional intelligence as well, right? It's about being able to read people. It's about being cunning in a way. It's about being able to like lead people into traps and then exploit those traps. It's also about just putting people in the bear trap of common sense, right? Like there's one disease that's going around on social media, or not really even social media, in the lexicon of thought and talk stuff. And that is the idea that if enough people believe something, that the idea is credible.
Yes.
And you hear that all the time now. Like even in response to the blacks eat cats phenomenon.
I'm sorry. I can't believe that we're in a moment where that's a thing.
It is. But remember now, the response to that, to the questioning of its validity, it wasn't like JD Vance and Donald Trump, both of them, right? It wasn't, hey, we talk to people who have the investigative power and the administrative power in these towns to know whether or not that's happening, and they say it's not happening. What they said was people are saying that it's happening. So being that people are saying that it's happening, we don't know people. It's people 2 people, it's people 100 people, it's people 10,000 people, it's people 1 person. Like people are saying that it's happening. And if people are saying that it's happening, well, you got to take it serious. And so I think a lot of times in those types of debates, what you'd say is, well, so are all of the people that went to the Capitol on January 6th wrong? You're just saying all those people are wrong. Those people don't matter. Yeah, they're all wrong. They're all wrong. And it doesn't matter if it was 30,000 of them or if it was 30 million of them. Right. They believe something that isn't true, and their numbers don't make it any more valid. And I think sometimes when you're arguing with people really on the left and the right, they'll go back to consensus to make their argument.
Does the right do that more than the left, though?
Yeah.
But I just think they do too. And I hate that sometimes we have to say this, you know, both sides thing. And it's like sometimes I feel like, nah, this is just them.
You know what the real problem with it is? And the reason why I do that is because neither one of these political wings of thought are black. And let me tell you something. I had enough, man. I was with the white man for 9 years. Like in a place where I had to make all types of determinations, and I never stepped over the line, but when you work there, you have to tell yourself a story. And I'm not telling myself no stories about nobody no more. I'm not doing that. So I don't want to give nobody cover. I always want to dole it out equally. I'd rather err on the side of caution in terms of over criticizing both sides than I would making it seem like I'm beholden to one group or not. And so the reality is, at this point, the anti-intellectual sort of rumor mill pulp fiction politics is almost exclusively on one side. But it feels weird for me to not criticize the left for some of the groupthink that they have as well.
Speaking of criticizing the left, the thing that made us even connect today was the clips that have been going out on the internet for the last few hours. They were so powerful. I said, I got other stories I want to cover, but I got to highlight my man about this. Angela Rye was in the I guess the driver's seat here, pressing, I would argue, Jill Stein and Butch Ware, her running mate, about the Green Party. I have a lot of thoughts on this. I know a lot of our thoughts are different on this, but I want to show people a couple of clips, those who missed it, because this has been going viral. This clip is the one that's been going. So that clip alone has had people be like, WTF? Like, you
Right.
run for office a lot. You should know how many members are in Congress. Now, I think she was about to correct herself. I think she was thinking about the House and the Senate. I think she was adding the 435 to the 100, and she's just not that good at math. I don't think she's oblivious, but it was not a good answer. It was a terrible answer, and it looks like you don't know what you're talking about. And people already don't like her and the Green Party. There are a lot of resentment among the establishment Dems, among the corporate Dems, among the Pelosi Democrats. And so I get it. I get why the clip is going viral. People are getting a kind of a perverse pleasure out of watching Jill Stein say the wrong number, even though Obama's done it before. He said there's 52 states. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he doesn't know how many states there are, right? People make mistakes. But what was your response when you saw that clip first?
I wanted to know what the full context of it was. That clip right there inspired me to go watch the entire interview. And the full context of the clip, I mean, actually what Angela was saying in the clip is kind of undercut by what she was asking Jill Stein was, of all the people right now in the House of Representatives, in the Senate, how many people do you have as allies in either the House or the Senate to be able to champion some of the things that you want? Right. She was asking her a very substantive question about, hey, who are the Green Party acolytes or the Green Party actors in either one of these, of all of these people? And I think that Jill Scott, I think that Jill Stein got tripped up on that, which made people go, wait, does she know the way government works?
Right.
And then that was the takeaway from that. But
right.
Angela was trying to make a greater point that they haven't made any inroads into actually being able to, but that's not what, see, it seemed like a gotcha moment, but that actually is not what she was trying to do.
She was asking almost rhetorically, like, you know, like
she was asking her, she was saying, for the things that you guys have wanted to do and what the Green Party has been around doing for a long time, have you guys made the proper political inroads to be able to affect change the way that you say that you can? Like, forget about being president. Do you have anything in the legislature in either branch to be able to, in either wing, should I say, to be able to get it done? And I think that the fact that she didn't know how many people were in the House kind of overtook all of that.
Right. It became a distraction to a point that I think she actually did have a good answer for. And and this is the part that I want people to hear, because I think there's two very different reads of this interaction. I think Jill Stein got busy. Other people feel like she didn't. And I'll play it. I'll let the people decide for themselves.
Sure.
So there's a lot there.
Okay.
There's a lot there. You see this exchange, this whole interview, in fact, and it leads you to say what?
Lots of different thoughts. So the brother that came with her, Butch Ware,
right.
I was impressed with him. I was impressed with his backstory. I was impressed with the way that he grounded everything that he said in this intellectual humanity that always draws me to people when they're talking. Now, after this, he went on his Instagram and he posted all the negative comments that people had about Angela Rye.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
I kind of think that's a clown move, right?
That's corny. That was corny.
I think that's a clown move. But
I like him. I just didn't like that move.
Yeah, I think that when I saw him there, I was very impressed with him, and I'm always happy to see that there's somebody else, or not somebody else, that there's somebody like him out there, right? I'm always happy to see that a brother like that exists. Jill Stein's energy. This is the first time I've ever heard Jill Stein in long form, ever. That tells you something about me. I haven't been curious enough to go.
You watch everything. You read everything.
I watch everything, but bro, I got so much Marvel in my brain. I got so much LSU football. I haven't made any space for Jill Stein. And I think the best thing about her is probably the reason why there's a cap on how successful she can be, is because she has an activist energy, right? And a lot of people think that they want their activists to be their politicians, but they don't. They don't. When someone goes through like a political rinsing, whoever they are and wherever they are, you're always going to see a different person on the other side of it. Doesn't matter where they started, right? What all of the things that Jill Stein was talking about, and not just Jill, but we had Cornel West and a dear friend of mine, Melina Abdullah, on Higher Learning. And a lot of things they were talking about were very transformative and beautiful. But the question I was trying to get to with Cornel West or with Jill Stein is, what do we do right now? Because we're a long way away from the vision of the world that you see. Like, what do we do like right now? I think, to be honest with you, third-party candidates, they have a problem with that question, because you're gonna talk to Jill Stein and you're gonna talk to Butch Ware, and they're gonna say, "Hey, well, we can win." We know that they can't win. We know that they're not going to win. They know that they're not going to win. So, having a conversation about how we affect what they're trying to affect now in lieu of that, I think is useful. But they can't really have it because they would lose seriousness and they would lose some of the perch that they have if incrementalism versus radical politics. This is what I need to be schooled on, right? And if we're going to, either approach has to me have, you have to make the case for either approach,
right? But we only question one approach. We take as a given that incrementalism is the proper, principled, responsible, mature thing to do, and right. Usually you have to make the case for the radical part.
Well, I mean, the reason why we do that is because we institute incrementalism in every single other aspect of our life. So it's actually, what people have to understand is, like, with radicals, and the reason why I love radicals and I'm always in the ear of a radical is because what they're doing is unnatural. And that means that it's important, right? What they're doing is bucking against the status quo and the way that we've always done things. And that keeps me from being too safe or being too intellectually incurious or anything like that. But every other thing in your life, you do it, it's incremental. Every single thing in your life. So, but when it takes a specific type of figure and a specific type of movement to convince you that a sudden upheaval is a good thing.
Right.
And
we've done it, right? I mean, that's what the Nation of Islam was doing. That's what Malcolm was doing. That's the Panthers were doing. They're saying, yeah, that's the whole song, Nina, right? Too slow, right? In Mississippi, goddamn, is that these incremental moments, it's not just that they're too slow, it's that they don't work. That the powerful always hold on to their power, and they always convince you, not yet, just wait a little bit longer, and then we'll be fine. And sometimes you could really believe it. Michael Corleone really thought the family would be legitimate in 3 or 4 years. And something always happens that pulls you back in, right? Even to that shitty third movie. And so what ends up happening is, right, if you're, saying, well, we need to just win this election. We need to just beat Trump because he's the worst thing in the history of the world. Mm-hmm. We can't worry about that now. We just got to beat Trump. We can't worry about the rat. Just beat Trump. There's always a Trump. There's always a Bush. There's always a Reagan. There's always a Daddy Bush. There's always a Nixon. There's always a moment where they say the sky is falling, and if we don't deal with it, then we won't have a world to get back to. And so that's the argument that as a member of the Green Party, we've been making for a very long time, is that we literally have to do something. And the measure of our success is not whether we win an election or not, right? Not meaning that the election doesn't matter. That's what I was trying to say on the Breakfast Club years ago that got taken out of context when I said we can afford to lose an election. I wasn't saying that the stakes are low. I'm saying that we win and lose elections all the time, right? Mm-hmm. But fundamentally, there is a set of values and principles we have to hold on to, even when we lose, although we fight like hell to win. Mm-hmm. But winning, because Angela's point, which I disagree with, is that you keep losing. The Green Party keeps losing. It's like, what's the goal? right? The goal of a Green Party run in 2020 or 2016 wasn't to be president. The goal was to build a party. And to that extent, we won. Yeah, we don't get a lot of votes compared to the Democrats, but to the point Jill Stein was making later is that, but if you compare the Green Party to any other grassroots movement, we mollywopping them. I mean, it's not even close. And that has to be how we think about this. It's not whether or not we win the election. It's what are we building and what are we doing to make the world better?
See, okay, so this is the way I look at this. It's a very interesting conversation because what Jill Stein said in the Breakfast Club interview, I thought she said something that was really, really interesting. And I think she's right. She said that the Democratic Party has actually over time adopted some of the things that the Green Party has put out there. She's actually pulled the existence of somebody like Jill Stein actually pulls a wing of the Democratic Party to the left.
Yes.
And pulling that wing of the Democratic Party to the left, I'm not saying it works and it always is a tried and true formula, but it pulls a lot of other people to the left. We start having conversations about environmental justice. We start having conversations about reparations, about single payer healthcare, about all of these things that are tenets of the Green Party platform. And about, to be honest with you, I've heard more in the last year about what it means to get the United States out of foreign wars, what it means to defend the dignity of the global South. I've heard all of these conversations, the military industrial complex, all of that stuff. I don't think that it's corporate Democrats that have injected all of those talking points into the intellectual and cultural lexicon. I don't think that it is. I think that it's a viable progressive wing of a party that has done that. And I think that wing of the party is only there because of a real leftist grassroots groundswell. Right. But Mark, even that happened over time. Even what we're talking about, the emergence of the squad, the adoption of some of these ideas, even that happened over time. What Jill Stein actually did in the Breakfast Club interview was she made the case that after Angela Rye said, hey, you ran in 2002, you ran in 2006, you ran in 2012 or whatever you ran for. She must have run for everything, including city council. You ran in 2016. You ran on.
Lied about your surgery. You lied
about this. What Jill Stein makes the case for is that wasn't time wasted.
Right.
Right. And so what I'm saying is, in all of these movements, I think a lot of times we ride for teams, and they talked about this during the interview, and we don't understand the one thing that working at TMZ did make me understand. Everybody has different jobs. Everyone has different jobs. If you don't have somebody in your life to hold you accountable for when you're getting a little slower, for when the money is getting to you, for when them people are in your ear, then you're eventually going to become one of them. If you don't have somebody to pull you back from being a boring, middle, non-confrontational person, if you don't have a wing of people, a tribe of people that say, hey, Van, that's not it. Hey, Van, you're getting in too good with the people. Hey, Mark, or whatever, it would never happen to you. But if you don't have those types of people in your life, you'll end up being that. And at the same time, if you don't have people in your life that are grounding you in where you are and what the realities are, then you're also losing. Last thing I'll say about this, and we'll talk about like elections and whether or not we can afford elections and all of that. And I agree with you, right? There's always going to be a boogeyman. But I'll tell you like this. Right now in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, there's a girl getting sexually abused by her uncle, her father, the guy that lives around the corner or whatever. She's going to get pregnant. Yeah. She has to carry that baby to term. She's going to have that child. And unless there's some kind of Herculean effort for somebody to swoop in and give her an out for that in those states, she's going to have that baby. There's some woman right now in my home state where the life of a child or her life is in peril because of a troubled pregnancy, and she's got to go through with it, a lot of cases under the threat of legal penalty.
Yeah.
And that was because an election was lost in 2016. And there are myriad other things that we can talk about that actually affect the lives disproportionately of people who don't have access to different types of services and stuff like that. And it's because an election is lost, not just at the federal election, at the federal level, but elections that are lost in state houses, elections that are lost when you got the wrong DA, when you get the wrong sheriff, when you get any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So there has got to be a way to talk about all of this stuff in a holistic way where we both don't act like voting in a presidential election doesn't matter, because it does. And also, we don't talk about the fact that we just want to throw out the people that challenge society at the margins with the most fresh, new, and all-encompassing ideas for the people who have the least.
I think that's right. I had I had an exchange with David Johns a couple of nights ago on election night, and he said that he doesn't have the luck. Do you know David Johns?
Yeah, I like David, man. David's a good guy.
So he said he doesn't. Basically, said I'm paraphrasing. He said I don't have the luxury of being a single issue voter. I care about what's happening in Gaza, but there's a lot of other stuff, and I care about Black people in our condition, and I have to think about this big picture. And I said to him, okay, what if Kamala Harris were the exact same person, exact same policies, but she believed that gay people are evil sinners and shouldn't be allowed to marry or have the same rights as straight people? Could you still vote for her under that same premise that you can't be a single issue voter? And his answer was, I'm not going to engage that because that's counterfactual. It's not true. And he went to explain her record on LGBTQ stuff, which of course wasn't the point, right? And I've posed this question to Palestinians too, right? Like, if Kamala Harris had the perfect agenda on Palestine, but we're shitty on Congo and Sudan, would you not vote for her on principle? If she could create a one-state solution right now and give you the right of return, give you all the things you want, but had an unprincipled stance on domestic policy here for Black people or on Sudan or Congo, would you vote for her, or would you hold back on principle? And no one ever gives a straight answer to that question, and it's a challenging one. And I think that sometimes we're being asked to compromise our own values and our own urgent needs under it's not a purity politics. I mean, I think there's a legitimate argument here, right? Which is, you don't want blood on your hands, that there's a genocide going on, and both mainstream corporate candidates are underwriting the genocide. I get that. But this idea that if I vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris and not Jill Stein or Cornel West or Claudia De La Cruz, then I'm complicit in the genocide. And the only way not to be is to not vote for either of them, which in the context of binary choice does give you Trump, which then makes things worse. For me, I struggle with this. This is something I struggle with every year on lots of levels, because I do care about those issues. I care about all these things. But I also know that we'll never get an end to the genocide unless we apply pressure. The Democrats are no different than the Republicans on Palestine, but that's because they know that at the end of the day, they don't have to be, because there's absolutely no penalty for staying with Israel. Even Joe Biden, right? I mean, he probably wouldn't have had to drop out if he had taken a better position on this. But now Kamala Harris is taking the same position Joe Biden did, effectively. Mm-hmm. And so when you look at the final analysis, you can be whoever you want, but you gotta support Israeli apartheid and you gotta support this genocide. And until we apply pressure, it's never going to end. So anyway, all of this is the messiness of it. And I don't look at the person who says, I can't vote for genocide. I don't look at them as wrong. But I also don't look at the person who says, look, I see all this shit. They're both terrible on these issues. But there are distinctive differences between these two on other key issues that matter just as much. And it's unfair, particularly for communities that haven't supported us in this way at the voting booth and politically, they've organized for us, for me to say, all right, well, I'm just going to sacrifice the right to not have the ability to abort my molester's child, right? I'm going to sacrifice that for what's really an abstract principle. Because at the end of the day, is the last thing I'll say, at the end of the day, more Palestinians will die if Donald Trump is president than if Kamala Harris is president. So if we're making a principled argument, you could also make that case.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Look, you know, here's the thing. And this is why a lot of times we have these conversations as if we're like talking about a video game.
Right.
And, you know, a rocket falling on somebody in a school or in a church somewhere and blowing them to bits is as real as it gets. It happened. It fundamentally changes somebody's life. It fundamentally changes the life of their family. It changes the way they look at the world. It changes their motivations. It's scarring and trauma and tragedy that you can't get away from. And anybody that says, I cannot be a part or a party to any group of powerful people that allow that to happen, I get it. I totally understand it. Yeah. Like I 1,000,000% understand that. I talk to people all the time on this. You know that I've done the best that I can to become as educated on this as I possibly can to try to understand it. And there are people that I've talked to and been talking to for a long time that I just can't vote for Joe Biden. I can't do it. I get it. And I understand that. What was said, I mean, you know, in terms of Donald Trump, the more I look at it, I can make an argument that, you know, Donald Trump is intimated and, you know, he's basically demonstrated his loyalty with the decision on the embassy, the Capitol, all of that type of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of those, like a lot of those types of decisions to me were agitating, honestly. And they were agitating and destabilizing in a way that, in my opinion, might have made people think that the situation was getting dire to where they had to do something. You know what I mean? I digress a little bit. So I'm saying that, you know, obviously Trump is a poor choice if the stability of the Palestinian people is what you want. Like, he's connected to every strong man in the world, and Benjamin Netanyahu desperately wants to be one of those guys, and Donald Trump will give him a blank check. I think what I'm saying more so is this, is that there is an ecosystem of political thoughts and actions here, and casting each other in roles of trash, non-trash, trash, non-trash, good, bad, pro-genocide, anti-genocide. I don't think it's very helpful, honestly, because I talk to a lot of people in South Baton Rouge, and they ask me why they should care, like about what's going on and what's going on anywhere. Now, forget about like Palestine. Don't forget about Palestine. Remember Palestine. Support Palestine. Free Palestine.
I know what you mean.
But they have a problem telling me why they should care about anything other than not what's happening in another, on their block, in their neighborhood. Like, you'll say, hey, we have to revitalize North Baton Rouge because it's a food desert and there are no grocery stores like above downtown, right? And they'll say, well, we don't live in North Baton Rouge, we live in South Baton Rouge. And then you have to make the case to them about why the economy and the freedom, right, of Black people citywide is important, that they can't just think about their neighborhood or their school while we got to do it all together. And so I certainly have a hard time making them care about things that have to do with geopolitics because they can't get their head above water. I say all that to say that I can afford to be nuanced, right? I have the time, I have the stability in my life to be nuanced. Not everybody can do it. Everybody got to fight their battles, and everybody got to go out and sharpen their swords. But all I'm saying is, for the people in the cheap seats that's not on the street, for the people in the cheap seats that's not affecting anything politically, injecting a bunch of chaos and disharmony into everything, I don't think it's helpful. You know,
but who's doing that? Like, so this idea, this is where the entitlement comes into me, because it's like people act like Jill Stein and the Green Party just come every 4 years and just fuck everything up and create chaos, as if the Democrats and Republicans are entitled to an election and we're not. And my point is, we all have a space here. Make the argument. If Hillary Clinton makes the argument, and if Hillary Clinton speaks to the voters, and if Hillary Clinton were a better candidate, she'd be president, or she would just be finishing her presidency right now. But she wasn't. You can blame that on the Green Party, or you can say make a different choice. The people who stay home or say, I'm not voting genocide, there's a way to get them to vote for you. Stop supporting the genocide. Now, I have a pretty sober and pragmatic vision of American politics, and that is that this is an empire. This is a corrupt nation state, like every nation state is. And you're never going to have progressive values or radical values, principled values, and run an empire. It just don't work that way. You know, just like the same reason I'm never going to be able to run a Fortune 500 company, because my values are at odds with the fundamental purpose of the institution. So I don't have like an unrealistic idealism or romanticism about this. But what I do have is an idea that we can do a whole lot better. And I think too often the corporate Democrats run around acting as if the claim that we can do better, the call to do better, the demand to do better, and the organizing around doing better by voting is itself a disruption, that we're somehow fucking things up. And it's like, that's such an unfair argument. And that's where, and I love Angela. Angela's my sister, that's my friend, that's my home. I love Angela. I just disagree. We always disagree on this Green Party stuff. I disagree with the idea of framing Jill as a loser, or, you know, to say that there's no purpose in what we're doing other than kind of grandstanding. And if we had, you know, and this idea that we don't have enough coalitions built or enough relationships in the Congress, that's a good argument. And look, I'm frustrated with the Green Party right now. Part of the reason why I'm strongly leaning in a different direction right now is because I'm deeply frustrated, profoundly frustrated with the Green Party and what
why?
we do. Because there's a couple of reasons, but the biggest one is I don't feel like we're doing enough in between Super Bowls. You know, I don't feel that we're doing enough at the grassroots level. Now, we do more than people think we do, right? A lot of the mayoral elections, a lot of city council elections, and state legislatures, we're up there, we're in there doing that. The media doesn't cover it. And then the Democrats fight to take us off the ballot. But I think we could do more, even in terms of the national campaign about the local. In other words, we should be letting people know that we're organizing. We should be letting people know what to do. We should be creating spaces, because we could win a bunch of mayoral. If it were up to me, we would win a bunch of mayoral seats. We'd win a bunch of city council seats. We would be we'd be building power, institution building, and then in 10 years we'd run a presidential candidate. If we run before then, it would be symbolic. But we would sort of recognize that that's not the place to put our energy and our time. And I don't think we do enough of that. I understand why Jill is running again. I'm not mad at Jill for running again. She was kind of left with no option given the context of, you know, Cornell leaving, and they had like a week or two. And, you know, I wanted Ajamu to run, but John wanted Jill to run. So what can you do? But I don't like the idea of having celebrities run for president every 4 years. Like, I don't. That's good for drawing attention. It's good for the spectacle, but I don't think it's a good long-term political strategy to say, all right, we're going to go from Ralph Nader to Cornel West to Jill Stein. You know, I've been asked to run a couple. You know, once I was asked to be Jill Stein's VP in 2016, and I was asked to run a following year, and I said no. And it's not a secret, you know. And even getting Nora Etiquette, asking her to run as VP this year. These are all movements that are like big splashes. But Nora's not even a Green Party member. Neither was Cornell. So, but again, if you can get Cornel West and you can build a movement, and I get why you do it, but I'm not sure that's a sustainable long-term strategy. That's what AOC was trying to get at. The problem is, and this is the other piece I want to ask you about, AOC, it seems to me, is not saying it from a place of let's really build this third party. She's saying it more as a Pelosi, you know, blue dog, not blue dog, but a Pelosi Democrat kind of talking point. And I think that's what Jill Stein was saying to Angela Rye. Not that you're a parrot. Because I get why Angela would be frustrated by somebody saying you didn't think for yourself. You're just saying what they told you to say. I don't think she's saying that. I think she's saying your analysis and your research is informed by a particular worldview that the powerful have given us. I wish she had said it like that.
So I actually even disagree with that, and I'll tell you why. So I went to this thing called the Conference on States. It was in Florida. It was with this group of people who are working the political world, different donor tables from all over the country. They're like money people. They raise money for candidates. And I listened to this guy talk, Raymond from P68. I listened to him talk. And he was talking about not Joe Biden, not Kamala Harris. He was talking about a mayoral race in Jacksonville, right? He was talking about a mayoral race in Jacksonville and about the amount of work they had to do to get a new mayor in Jacksonville, right? And how long it took them to flip that, to get what they needed, and all the work that went into it. He said, we did it. And he says, because of that, we were able to pass this healthcare initiative. And there were 50 to 100,000 people. I can't remember what the number was. Let's say 50,000. 50,000 people that now have healthcare in that area because we, after a long time of working and working and working, were able to get this guy elected. And when he got elected, we were able to get this policy passed. And because of this policy, a bunch of underserved people have access to healthcare in that area that wouldn't have had access to healthcare. And the minute someone says something like that, I'm sitting in my chair and I'm thinking of my aunts who had high blood pressure, my father who died of congestive heart failure, who had a son that was in a position to pay for a lot of his medical treatment, but a lot of other people who don't. And I think about all of the lives that are actually changed by that. And I think about the fact that you need people with new, fresh, and radical ideas, right? But at some point, you have to have that, right? You have to have that. But at some point, you have to make sausage. At some point, you have to make sausage. When people talk about how the sausage is made, you have to make change. You have to raise money. In the Green Party, they're actually appealing to people because it's going to be the people that are going to give them their power. On the other side, the people are appealing to power. They're asking the powerful people to change their lives, right? To me, I would love to be in a position to where we have the opportunity to look at a bunch of different people on the grassroots level and say, hey, we need $3, we need $4, we need $5, we need small donations. Shut up. We need small donations so that we can then build a political movement that turns the American status quo on its ear. And I'll support that every single time. But what I also have to do, though, is I have to get with people and raise money so we can win elections so that my people in Baton Rouge don't starve.
I think what the Green Party is communicating, sometimes not effectively enough, maybe, is that that process of getting there is constantly being undermined by people who don't want this to change. People act like this is just the natural ecology of things. It's like, no, there are people who literally say things so that you won't vote Green, and people who say things so that you won't want universal health care, and people who say things so that you won't want to unionize. And so it's not enough, which is why we have to keep fighting. So like Ralph Nader makes an argument for universal health care decades ago. And he applied so much pressure to the political class, the powerful, that the Democrats, as you pointed out earlier, and Jill pointed out in the interview on the Breakfast Club, that they were forced to take it on as their issue. But when they take it on as their issue, it's not Medicaid for all. It's not a real universal health care. It's universal health insurance that still keeps big pharma in place, that still keeps the corporate entities in place, and still hurts the most vulnerable. So it's not like we can just fight, drag the Democrats to the left a little bit, and then get out the way. They're always going to co-opt the resistance and make it in their image and likeness. That's the constant struggle. And it's not just that they keep winning, it's that they keep cheating. They make the rules so that my brother and I used to have a WWF wrestling matches in the house. It was just two of us. My other brother was too old. And my brother was the ref. I never won a match. Yeah. You know, that's how Democrats play. And the Republicans play. They say, look, yeah, you can get this federal money if you win 5% of the vote. They know you can't get 5% of the vote because you don't have no money.
Right.
So they continue to build this thing up. I think that's why I'm so frustrated with the dismissal of what the Green Party is trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get that. Look, I understand that we can talk about things from the grandiose level, from Citizens United, all the way down to, no, I get that. I understand that. And that is frustrating. And anytime you are trying to readjust the status quo, that's what you run into. My thing is this. I'm not saying that like the case can't be made and that people shouldn't be making the case and they shouldn't be fighting that the rules shouldn't change. Like it's a weird situation to be in. What I'm saying is, since we're not going to wake up tomorrow in the world that we want, we have to try to get wins in the world that we live in, right? And go back to that last chat. That's true. To me, in my mind, reimagining public safety is common sense. I think reimagining public safety is pro cop. Like I think it's pro police officer to have a system of public safety where rather than arm them with AR-15s and tanks and guns, to where we specialize in terms of public safety and create different wings to where people are, they have the resources they need. These crazy people that are doing these jobs have the mental health resources that they need, and everybody does better. If you tell me that you do a job every single day where you put your uniform on and then you go, I don't know if I'm going to come home or not. I don't know. I'm afraid the entire time. What I tell you is there's a solution to that.
Right.
There's a solution to that, which is making those societies and the communities that you're in better, enriching those people, giving them the opportunity to be in different situations. Also, if you don't know how to deal with someone that you might be afraid of because they're mentally unstable, maybe there should be a wing of the Public Safety Commission where people do that, putting you in different positions, because I believe if you put people in positions to win, that they normally will, right? All of that. What I'm saying right now is we have to do that, but in the meantime, we have to ban chokeholds. Like we have to, we have to do that. We have to reimagine public safety. We have to reimagine what that looks like, but we have to ban chokeholds. We have to affect legislation on ShotSpotter and things like that. We have to affect legislation on body cams.
Yeah.
We have to affect legislation on use of force, on no-knock warrants, on all of that stuff. We have to do those things like right now.
Yeah. We call them abolitionist reforms, right? I mean, Ruth Wilson Gilmore, the great abolitionist scholar, talks about, you know, what kind of reforms make sense, you know, because as abolitionists and as radicals, we say we don't want reform. Reform keeps the status quo. But she made a much more nuanced analysis, said there's abolitionist reforms and there's reformist reforms. Banning chokeholds does not make us any less likely to abolish prison, right? It just keeps people alive, right? Saying that we're going to build a new warm and fuzzy safe prison with soft walls and concierge service would be a reformist reform, because it still believes that prisons are salvageable and it still invests in the very system we're trying to dismantle. but me putting condoms in the prison does not. That's not a reformist reform. It's an abolitionist reform, right? It saves lives, it helps, and it doesn't. It still allows us to do the work of tearing down prisons. So I'm all for reforms that can allow us to keep moving toward the radical, and it doesn't have to be abolition, whatever the thing is, right? Moving toward the radical. What I don't want to do is, and this is where Democrats are really good, and I mean that in the worst way. They're really good at taking a radical thing and making it seem like they're just tweaking it a little bit to be
watering it down.
Yeah, but not just watering it down, but changing its fundamental makeup so that it's no longer a radical policy. It's now just a reformist policy that reinforces the status quo. So saying Medicare for all or Medicaid for all is a radical move. The government's paying for our health care, right? That little bit of water gets you somewhere else where the inequality is baked in. And I think that's where I'm frustrated. And they police it. And you know what it is? We normalize the police. This is the last thing I'll say. And I got one more question for you about something else.
Okay.
And I know you got to run.
I'm good.
Good. Then I got two things. The Democrats show up. I mean, Joe Biden showed up to the Breakfast Club, talked for a gajillion years, gave great interviews. I enjoyed them. Charlamagne did a good job. Emmy did a good job. I think he was there, everybody did a great job, right, with these interviews.
Shady.
What'd you say?
Shady.
I wasn't being shady. I mean, I just couldn't remember who was there for this. I just couldn't remember if he was there or not. If it was just if she was on the road. But this is like I'm talking about 4 years ago.
I know, bro. I'm fucking with you.
Okay. I was like, I had the capacity, but I wasn't even doing it. And then he says, "You ain't really black if you don't vote for me." Right? Okay, that was not, that's the moment. Larry Elder goes on there.
Last year, sometime.
Last year. Point is,
maybe earlier this year, maybe I can't remember.
I know it'd be running together.
Yeah.
But the point is, none of them got fact checked, cross-examined. Like Angela could have been there for Larry. Angela could have been there for Biden. Angela could have been there for Kamala. Angela could have been there.
Tez was there.
Huh?
Tez was there.
Tez was there for Larry. That's true.
He wasn't there for Biden. Yeah.
Right. But I guess my thought is, in general, it feels like the Green Party got a different treatment.
Well, okay, so this is the way I would look at that, and that you probably have to talk to Charlamagne about this. Like, I talk to him all the time. You talk to him all the time.
Yeah, I was literally going to ask him that tonight. I just didn't get a chance to.
So this is why I think the Green Party got a different treatment. Now, I will say that while we're talking about this, there are other people that came in. Larry Elder was like thoroughly fact-checked. He went back and forth with Tez a lot. Joe Biden didn't, because I think the reason why you're seeing Tez and Angela on these shows is so that people that do this work all the time can stand there and ask questions. Like, for example, Ole was there when they had Eric Adams on. Right. And she went back and forth with Eric Adams almost to the point. But that treatment of Eric Adams is a Democrat. So he's a Democrat that niggas don't fuck with. My point is, we construct certain people as meriting scrutiny and some people who aren't. I'm just saying we've added the Green Party to the dubious list. Well, I think that there's a couple of things. Number one, I'll be honest with you about the interview as I watched it. The questions that Angela was asking, to me, weren't questions that were combative. They were questions about the vitality and the viability of the Green Party movement. And I do think, and this is why I say an activist energy, right? It's much easier to have a politician than to have a conversation about policy with a politician than it is to have a conversation about action with an activist. Because the activist has dedicated their life to their cause so much that they look at you as someone standing in the way of what it is that they're trying to do. So if you talk to an abolitionist, and you're asking them questions and you're interrogating what it is that they're talking about, they're looking at you they're looking at you as what Jill Stein said, which is a mouthpiece of power, a mouthpiece of white supremacy, a mouthpiece of all of those things. Whereas the politician, when you talk to them, they're just trying to persuade you, maybe dishonestly. Not Donald Trump, but most other ones, a good politician, they're just trying to persuade you. They're just trying to rub on your thigh enough to make you forget what you believe in. They're just trying to talk you into something. So those conversations are normally, especially when they're talking to regular people, less combative. Every question that was asked to Jill Stein and every question that Angela had was taken. Like a lot of times she wouldn't even get a chance to ask the question. She would ask the question. She would be like, and she literally, there was one time when she said to Butch, see, if you just let me finish, you'd have seen that that's not what I'm trying to do. Now, I'm under no illusions. Angela Rye has been a Democratic operative for a very long time, and she's very good at getting out the vote and engaging people. I'm not saying she has very much value with in the Green Party. I haven't spoken to her about it. I don't know whether or not she does. I don't think that any of the questions that she asked were unfair. I do think that they took them personally, and they took them personally because they have such an intense and energetic belief in what it is that they're doing. They're not trying to win elections, they're trying to change the world. And that's why I say activists and politicians are not the same. Activists are like activists are people, maybe activists are people like activists are people who they don't take no for an answer. They don't in any way compromise. They don't do anything. They have, in order to stay energized, they have to stay pure. And to me, Jill and Butch, when they were in there, that was kind of the energy. Asking someone, well, you've been doing this for a long time. I mean, Tez asked the same question to Vivek Ramaswamy. She asked him, she said, hey, you're in here and
your ass can't win.
And right, and you haven't ever won or run an election or won an election in any way. To me, what I would like is when you have a Democrat in front of you, you have any politician in front of you, that you ask questions that you think will affect the lives of people. That you ask them, how long do we have to wait for this? I've been in trouble on higher learning because I've said that there were things that the Democrats ran on in 2020, and they said to us, no one told us, hey, we got a 50+1 majority in the Senate. A lot of this stuff is not going to be able to be accomplished unless we get rid of the filibuster on it. No one said that. What they told a lot of Black people out there was if you elect Warnock and Ossoff, that every single agenda point that we need to get done, we can get it done because we have a 50+1 and Kamala will cast the deciding vote. Then they get in office and they go, you know what? On a lot of these things, you're going to need 60 because you got to beat the filibuster. And you have a lot of people going, all right, so George Floyd, we just watched him get killed. And we see that they're trying to attack voting rights. You guys are telling us you can't do this stuff. What's the fucking point? Right? And so I get that. And I'm speaking on behalf of those people. And those are the questions that I would like to see asked of those people. I think that, honestly, the reason why you might be seeing some of that is because, it depends on who the Breakfast Club can get to come up on there. It depends on who's up for the fight. And honestly, bro, after what happened with Biden, you might not see the Democratic establishment be so anxious to step foot in the Breakfast Club before, because they might not think it's the home game that a lot of other people think that it is.
And that might be true. I just know that on TV, we create the conditions for how people consume something. So Eric Adams definitely got a tougher analysis than Cornel West did when he came on there running for president, right? Cornel West,
without a doubt, they let Cornel cook.
Right. And part of that is we love Cornel, we trust Cornel. And some of it is every time I see somebody get checked on there, I assume it's because there's an implicit message that this person is questionable. And I agree with them. That's the thing. I always agree with him. He's a Democrat, but Eric Adams is questionable, right? He he needs to be fact checked, and so does Ramaswamy, and so does Trump, and so does so. I just felt like the Green Party got that treatment in a way that Democrats don't. And those are the types of things that continue to make people say, oh, that shit's not real. But I want to ask you your opinion on something else, something totally different. Two things, actually. Right, cool. You said something that, I don't know if you said it on Twitter or if I texted you. I think it might have been, it was both, actually. I saw you say it on Twitter, and I was giving you a chance to repent, but you didn't. This right here.
Oh, that you a Sigma?
I am not a Sigma. I couldn't imagine anything worse. Those sneakers.
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar releases a single.
Yeah.
I think it's fire.
Okay.
I think he's been on a can't miss streak for about 6 months now. I think he's setting the stage for an epic run. Mm-hmm. You thought it was mid.
That's not what I said.
How'd you describe it?
I said, what I was wondering is what the reason that the track was dropped, because I thought it was kind of an average filler track. Now, let me tell y'all something. It's not mid, because mid is something that's kind of whack. You got to think of what's average for Kendrick Lamar. Fair right? Enough. It's an album cut. And so I'm thinking, like, why is the song coming out? Now, let me tell y'all something real quick. And I want everybody to hear my voice on this. I do not dick ride. I know that we live in the most dick riding culture. And I'm not saying that people who love this track are dick riding. All right. I'm not saying that. I do not dick ride. I don't dick ride. I don't dick ride. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. All right. Tell y'all something. Started listening to Kendrick Lamar way back in the day. ADHD, Section 80, overly dedicated, gigantic Kendrick Lamar fan. I have not liked every Kendrick Lamar song the same. Y'all are so religiously, not you, Mark, I'm just talking to people. Y'all are so religiously dedicated to these millionaires that anybody that has any type of opinion that you don't agree with, you got to start throwing all types of different fucking insults. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. I am not going to dick ride no matter what. I'm not going to dick ride. I'm not gonna say something to be next to somebody else. I'm not gonna everything that he said. Oh, are you? You ain't got no picture though? I want to see the picture. Like if everything that he said in the song,
my brother Van wants a picture, sir.
That looked like a. I thought that was a lady.
Nah, that's our brother Kime Aboyade.
Oh, my bad. I thought like he said he was pro dick riding, so I assumed it was a lady.
These heterosexist assumptions are part of the problem, my brother.
Heteronormal is, but all I'm saying is, look, I'm not gonna go into a whole long thing. Some of y'all out here in the world, I know y'all. I talk to y'all, and I see the way y'all talk in the group chat, and then I see the way y'all talk in public. And I want y'all niggas to know I don't respect
you. So you think that people be like in public, like this is the greatest thing ever, and on the low, like this shit was trash, or this shit was
no, I'm not saying that they're doing that specifically about this Kendrick song. Once again, the song is cool. I'm not saying that they're doing that. I thought that said Kim. I'm not saying that they're doing that about the Kendrick song. I'm just saying I know people that do it.
Yes, and there are media people who I don't even know if they're paid to do it. I think some of it is just they get the thrill from being close to it all. It's a fascinating phenomenon. I also think when somebody is on a hot streak, you're inclined to think it's better than it is. I remember when Blueprint 3 came out. I'm sorry, when Blueprint 2 came out. I really like Blueprint 3 more than most people. Blueprint 2 came out. That's a very average. It's a lot of filler on that album.
Yeah, because it's a double CD. But like, and he came back and he dropped one, the Blueprint 2.1, where it's just all the hottest, and it's a better record. But at the time that Jay-Z was popping, bruh, it's a whole fucking era of Jay-Z when niggas weren't fucking with Jay-Z. It's a whole era post Kingdom Come where I remember Run This Town comes out, bruh. Yeah. Run This Town comes out and people are like, oh my God, Kanye ate Jay-Z up or Jay-Z lost it, whatever. There was a whole era, even when Blueprint 3 comes out and people are going down the track listening to Blueprint 3, it's some joints on there, but people are like, some of this shit is not that hidden. Now, if you talk to the Jay-Z dick riders, basically the New York tri-state area, it was never a time when Hove got a little cold.
I think you're overstating his cold period.
Nah, it's not. Nah, I'm not. Nah,
I feel like, but my only point was when Blueprint 1 comes out, it's considered a classic.
It's amazing.
He has all these streaks of features and mixtape cuts and all this shit. So when Blueprint 2 comes out, I remember people saying, this is when I was still a music writer. People were saying, oh, this album's another classic. It was their first instinct. And it was only after 2 weeks where they were like, wait a minute, I don't really want to hear a posse cut with Young Guns over Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is dumb. Like, just take the top 10 tracks.
I kind of like that record, yeah.
I did. You would. I
kind of like that record.
but like, it's this idea that like, we're inclined to like stuff more than we do. I think some people are being disingenuous on the group chat, but I think some people just want to believe that it's better than it. People wanted to believe Magna Carta, Holy Grail was some otherworldly masterpiece that was brilliant and we just didn't get. And even Hope said he thought it was his top 5 album. Then later on, you're like, oh wait, this just wasn't a good album.
It's like, it's got some songs on there. It's cool. My thing is this, it's like, we all been listening to something, right? We all been listening to something or watching a movie. And you've been to that point where you're like, is this shit whack? That's 3 in a row. Is this whack? Is this shit not is this shit not hidden? Like, I remember Ghetto D came out and I was like, No Limit got the formula. Like, No Limit got the formula. I know you don't like No Limit because you're from Philly, and oh my God.
It just wasn't a lot of good music.
I love real hip hop. Where Non-Brigade at? Hey, play at Non-Brigade. Like, play Philly's Most Wanted. Like, hey, y'all got shout out Philly, shout out Boo, Philly Most Wanted. Hey, bro, I want to hear that motherfucking, man, put that comment on. We ain't trying to listen to that shit. I know that's how y'all niggas was, like Jack, and then
we like good music.
You like good music, so you telling me that No Limit wasn't good music? That wasn't good music. Wow, that's bullshit, bro. See, this is the thing, bro.
Yeah, Juvenile was hot. Wayne was hot. But y'all give me Silk the Shocker like it's the same thing.
Okay, so look. So here's the deal. This is what I say about Silk. Okay, wait. This is what I say about Silk. What I say about Silk is this. Silk is not a top tier artist, but Silk got a couple of joints. He got a couple of joints. And so exactly. Shout out to Melina. I can see your picture. What's up, girl? But like it, but Silk, all I'm saying is this. The game is to be sold, not told. MP The Last Don comes out after Ghetto D. I'm listening to it and I'm like, this is not the same. It's not as good. Man, dudes was trying to like square up. Like they was such No Limit fans that they trying to square up. I'm like, bro, it's just music. It's like whatever. Kendrick Lamar can't make a whack song. I'm gonna be honest with you. Drake can't really make a whack song. Like Drake has his song making down to an art to where most Drake songs that you get are going to be quality Drake songs, but you're gonna that's what I'm saying. But like,
I mean, I don't consider it a quality song. It's just
so you don't consider a quality song being a song that, like, I mean, everybody has a style.
It's like if you listen to a whole Meg style, and I love Meg, right? But there was her first project. So many of the tracks were similar that it sounded like you were just in one long stretch of strip club.
Let me ask you this.
For example,
does all Sade's music sound the same? Right. So like when I'm saying like I would say no, but you know what I mean, right? Sade or Anita Baker. Like some people have like very signature types of deals. Like an Anita Baker record will come on and you'll be like, is this Sweet Dreams? Is this Fairy Tales? Is this Rapture? You know what I'm saying? But but beyond that, what I'm saying is like to me, to me, a lot of this stuff is about like kind of what like a lot of this stuff is. I love Sade, guys. I'm just saying
you should record this motherfucker, man.
She's got a very signature style and voice and tone that makes the music sound kind of similar. What? No. Wait a minute, they have totally turned on me. I can't believe I came in here the villain of the chat tonight. I'm now a Democratic shill who hates Sade. That's not what I'm saying, y'all. You know what? Fuck it, bro.
You talked about the Green Party, the room full of lefties, and you got more smoke about Sade.
Look, all I'm saying is this. I loved it. When I was asking that question, pull up. When I was asking that question, the question I was asking was, what's behind the drop of this record? Because it's not like the record itself was something that was so crazy different that Dot was like, I have to get that out. I'm like, what's coming? Like, what is this about? Like, what is he trying to say? I listened to that one more than I listened to any of the ones from the Beef, besides Not Like Us, which has achieved cultural ubiquity.
You in the West Coast, you ain't got no choice.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And so
in church.
I'm just trying to figure out. I've listened to the song over and over again. Listen to while I was running. Listen to while I was in the gym. Listen to as much as I can in a couple of days since this came out, because I'm trying to figure out what's in here. What is he trying to say? Because it was kind of just a regular Kendrick song. Is all I'm saying.
But if we take the battle logic off, right, and the calculus, and we say maybe he's an artist that just had something to say, then the question becomes: is he saying anything different? He is.
He is.
And so maybe this song was just an idea and a sentiment, not only that was in him that he wanted to get out, but that he wanted to provide to the world. I think he's very didactic in his music, especially since To Pimp a Butterfly. That album in particular, and this one. And I mean didactic both in the sense of very educational, pedagogical, but also very moralistic. And I think there's a way that he feels like he needs to teach us something about how to be in the world. Same way Lauren was. And it feels like that's what he's trying to do here.
I mean, I agree. I think he's always had a I mean, Mr. Morale, a lot of people that wasn't their favorite Kendrick project.
Yeah,
I was on the road with it. But there's a song on Mr. Morale about him and his father.
Yes.
That a year after I lost my dad, I could not get over there's only 4 or 5 times, a handful of times in your life where you hear something or you get into something or you see something and you go, Jesus Christ, I'm not the only one. Yeah. I've listened to that record so many times, like so many times over and over and over and over and over again. And when you have that feeling about a record, the next 2 records after it, you kind of don't even hear them. Like on an album, a really standout song, the energy from that joint can take you on a couple. Maybe I'm not. The energy from that joint can take you on a couple of different rides. I've been in LA 20 years though, but I fuck with Dot. I love Dot. I think what Dot did this year was masterful, and I think it's about time that he took his crown. You know what I'm saying?
As what? For him, he's the best one of this generation.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
He is.
I have to agree. I think I just wish he were better.
Oh shit.
No, this isn't like a Kendrick. I mean, in the way that like LeBron is the best of his generation, but I don't think he's Jordan. It's still a big ass deal to be LeBron. He's just not Jordan. Kendrick is a genius. He's a great artist. He's all the things. Cole, Drake, they're all in that mix. Drake's a little bit weird to me because he doesn't write all of it. He does not write a significant amount of it. Mm-hmm. And he just sings too damn much.
We don't know how much he doesn't write, by the way. We know songs that he hasn't written, but the calculus of what Drake has written and what Drake hasn't written, we don't know.
Fair enough, but these reference tracks are starting to leak, and that makes me frustrated.
And by the way, just to be honest with you, I was watching your great friend. I was watching a clip that popped up from your friend DJ Vlad on Twitter. It popped up, and Oskino, Philadelphia's own Oskino, is on there, and he's on there talking about the All I Need track from the Blueprint, which is my favorite song off the Blueprint. And you could ask, I could call my sister right now.
That's a strange ass take.
Bruh, I could call my sister right now and she'll tell you that 2001 to 2002, that as soon as you walked in the house, all you heard was, you know what I'm saying?
The drums was knocking, I ain't gonna lie. But
love it. But that record, the beat, Beancat produced the beat, and the concept of the record is from that group Non-Brigade that I brought up. That's why they were top of mind. And then I went and listened to the song, and Jay-Z changed the lyrics, but the hook, the beat, the whole concept of the song is basically the same. Bruh, that's not that much different, dog. It's really not that much different.
Drake whole verses.
It's whole verses, but if you listen to the reference track, and I'm not holding water for either of these artists, because I really don't give a fuck. But I didn't know that was going on at all, is my point. If you listen to the reference track for 10 Bands, and then you listen to Drake's version of 10 Bands, Drake changed a lot of the lyrics that Quinn had on there. He changed a lot of the lyrics that he had on there. He kept some, but he changed some. He's giving academics, I feel you. But all I'm saying is this. I didn't realize that nobody was doing that. Like, no one. I didn't realize that was a thing.
I'm okay. Here's what I'm not okay. I'm just not okay with somebody writing someone's verse. If you're a pop star, fine. But no one should be writing my raps.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying. Hooks, fine. Concepts, fine. But actually saying my actual raps, I'm not okay with that. So,
and there's more records than that.
What's that?
There's more records than that. There's songs that Majid Jordan did that Drake took the songs and recorded them. It's songs that Party did that Drake go, I hear that, I want it, took the song and recorded it. It's songs that The Weeknd did that he did the same thing.
Yeah, and look, and Drake writes for other people. Drake is a phenomenal rapper. I actually love Drake as a rapper. I don't believe that Drake has made a classic album. I know people love Take Care. I don't believe Drake has made a classic album.
He ain't got no classics.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why Kendrick is above him now. And he just mollywopped him in this debate. I mean, that ended the who's the best of your generation question. But Jay-Z, Nas, there's at least Ice Cube, in the 90s. There are people who I feel like were a better representation of the best of their generation than this crowd. That's all I'm saying.
Kendrick is fucking destroying Cube's career as a rapper. Cube is a GOAT. Cube is one of the greatest.
Are you talking about skill? Apple to apple.
No, I'm talking about musical output.
No,
Kendrick has passed Cube without a doubt, bro.
Yes, he has. Killing him, or he passed him.
Kendrick. What Kendrick has done rap wise, he's past Cube. He's significantly past Cube.
Okay, only if you don't count the fact that he wrote all of NWA's records.
Now you can count that. Count it.
If you count all of NWA's records, and then you got Death Certificate,
which is one record with NWA he was on. So he was on one record. He was on one album with NWA, and then he wrote some of Easy stuff, right? So that's that. And then by the time Strictly for My Niggas comes out, he's gone. I'm not Strictly for My Niggas,
but he's written
Niggas for Life. By the time he's gone, yeah.
But my point is, if you give him all of NWA, which to me is different than like he's not just one of three on NWA. I'm saying he's like or one of four. I'm saying he's writing the whole base of the whole record, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you got his run, Death Certificate,
Lethal Injection,
Kill It Will, Death Certificate. What's the other one I'm forgetting? I just said
Lethal Injection.
Lethal Injection, and then. So I'm not even getting to the Players Club, in the club shit. Right? I'm just talking about his.
That's because by that time he's no longer. By that time we can't compare.
That was a great song, but it was an outlier.
Yeah.
His core sound and his core work to me, he was the dominant rapper of the 90s. It's him and it's Rakim.
What are you talking about? You saying that Ice Cube was the dominant rapper of the 90s?
I'm saying that if in 1996, right? If you were to ask somebody who the top 5 rappers of all time, Ice Cube would be on most critics' lists of all time.
But like,
is that fair?
I'm saying that Cube is one of the few rappers that can say that at one time he was the number one guy in the game. He had that, right?
That's what I'm saying.
I know, but that was actually a little bit earlier than 96. Because by the time 96 is out, it's Pac and it's Big. And Cube is not in the same league as those guys. And then after Pac and Big, it's gonna be Snoop. And then like Snoop past Cube, Snoop past Cube, Pac, and then by the time you get to and by the way, a lot of this has to do with also the fact that by this time in 96, Cube has made a change. Friday is out. And so he is not solely a rapper anymore. He is now vaulted to like the mid to top of Hollywood. And then that takes away from him rhyming a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. That's what when I say 96, I'm not saying he was at the top of the game in 96. I'm saying at 96 that people were coming up with top 5 lists because Hove is just starting, right? Reasonable Doubt's just coming out. Snoop still only has, I mean, obviously Doggy Style was an amazing album.
It was a cultural phenomenon.
But I don't think he's in people's top 5s. Right?
At that time, he definitely would have had to have been. In 96, he'd have had to have been.
Oh, that's a tough
in 96, he'd have had to have been. Like he was like Snoop was achieving. Like at 96, he'd have had to have been. Look, I'm not taking anything away from Cube, but what I'm telling you right now is Kendrick is on year 12 of a rap run.
Kendrick is special.
And so his career as a rapper, he's reached heights that Cube hasn't reached, that Cube didn't get to. Like he's far past Cube.
I think he's at the level. I think he's past Cube. I don't think he's far past Cube. And I think this year it's only reason that pushed him past Cube in terms of relative impact on their generation and on the genre. Again, because I'm holding Cube accountable for NWA.
Right.
And I think people forget not you, but other people forget just how impactful Cube was, how big Cube was to the rap world when he makes that run. Kendrick is a better rapper. Kendrick is a better artist. Kendrick is a better musician. Kendrick is all better than Ice Cube. I'm not saying he's not. And Ice Cube wouldn't be my best example of who a better best was. I'm just saying that this crop of elite rappers to me, unlike maybe any other moment, like there was a moment where I said, like, you got Kane, you got G-Rap, you got Rakim, you got KRS. I'm like, okay, cool. But then Biggie, Nas, Jay-Z are better than them. To me, on all levels, right?
Yeah.
And then you got, but now you got these guys, and I'm like, I don't want them over the other guys.
Yeah, we're getting
older. I don't want them over the other guys. And it's but Kendrick, it reigns supreme. I'm not taking anything again.
But also we're getting older.
And I'm trying to keep that in mind too.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, when the gang came to the South, bro, I'll just be real with y'all. Like, I like that music more. It was like
Game, like West Coast G Unit Game.
Nah, listen, not Game. Game is amazing, by the way, but not Game. But I'm talking about like when the rap game came to the South.
I just want to make sure I understood. Okay.
When No Limit, Cash Money, and then in the 2000s, a time that people don't really give a lot of respect in terms of rap, but Jeezy to me super underrated as far as what he meant to hip hop. Like
movement,
like Jeezy, the whole nine, all of that shit. It was a big deal to me. Those guys are almost like a tweener generation. Even Tip and the rest of those guys, they're a tweener generation. And Wayne comes in.
Yeah,
I don't think that I'm ever going to listen to Dot, Drake, or Cole and feel the same feelings I get from Pac or Big or shit DMX. Yeah, it's just I'm older than those guys, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's like basketball. Objectively, though, you could be like, Dr. J just wasn't as good, right? As Michael Jordan. It's like, it's hard for me. Kendrick is a wizard. That's some other shit, right? But for me, it's not about skill. I think the skill level is getting better in certain ways, right? The artistry sometimes is getting better. But like Drake is a pop machine. I don't want my goats in rap to be pop machines. Right. Cole is a lyrical master, but doesn't make a lot of compelling music. I don't find his music as compelling as I would like to, even though I love the way he fucking raps. I love the way he raps. But can he make an Illmatic? You know what I mean? Can he make a Stillmatic? Shit.
Right.
You know, I don't think so. You know,
well, I mean, like when you look at Illmatic, though,
you must say something blasphemous.
No, I'm not. When I like it, I love Illmatic, right? Like Illmatic is great. It's not my favorite Nas album at all, by any stretch of imagination. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite Nas album at all. But Illmatic also has production from some of the greatest hip hop producers of all time. Illmatic is a very specific time in Nas's life. Like Doggy Style is a very specific time in Nas's life. Like Get Rich or Die Trying, which is almost starting to become underrated for how
underrated at this point.
Yeah, like it's a very specific time. So, like, you know, to me, Good Kid, Mad City, it stands up with those albums, bruh.
Good Kid, Mad City is one of the hip hop, to me, top 10, and I could probably fight for top 5 solo debut albums. Get Rich or Die Trying is on that list too, along with Illmatic, you know, Ready to Die, Doggy Style. You know, there's some key ones there. I can't say enough great things about Good Kid. I still think that's his best album though.
Good Kid, Mad City, I do too.
I don't know.
Wait. No, see, you just is Illmatic Nas's best album? It's his first one. Is Reasonable Doubt Jay-Z's first album? Is his first one. It's not uncommon in hip hop after you've lived a life of experiences and you're 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I don't think Reasonable Doubt is Jay's best album. I don't think Illmatic is Nas's best album.
That's crazy talk.
But it's not uncommon, particularly in hip hop, for your first album to be your best album, because hip hop, the music is infused with such a rebellious, anti-establishment spirit that these guys start going to France. They start eating filet mignon. And you really, for that second and third album, I mean, you gotta give us a little bit more, and a lot of times it stops.
I don't hold it against anybody that the first album is their best album. To me, is what is the quality drop off between first and second, second and fourth, fourth and eighth? You know, that's the question for me. I don't think Reasonable Doubt is Jay's best work by any stretch. I think Reasonable Doubt might be his third or fourth best album at this point. I think Black Album is better. I think
Black Album is better too. I think Blueprint is better too.
And I think American Gangsta is better. But that's just my own personal, you know, hot take, right? I wouldn't die on that hill, but I enjoy listening to it more, I'll say.
You like American Gangsta, huh?
I love American Gangsta. I don't think it's
better. It too.
I don't think it's better than Reasonable Doubt, but I like listening to it more. I'll say that. But when you talk about Illmatic, I mean, Illmatic to me is not his best work. Although, you know, I get why people like it was written better to listen to. I get why people like Stillmatic, although I don't think it's a better album. I get Godson to some extent. I
like Godson better.
I'm going to kill myself right now with this back scratch. I'm going to literally.
I got the 40 in the other room. I just got it.
I got 45 right here. I'll probably more dramatic. It's too predictable for me to blow my head off with a Desert Eagle. I figured this might track better.
You got a Desert Eagle? What the fuck?
So here's what happened.
Such an impractical gun.
Shit. This is what happened. I had a Kel-Tec 9mm when I was living in the hood years ago. And I went on vacation, came back, and the people who ran my building, I realized later, just basically kicked my door in to make it look like a robbery, and they took my gun. So, you know, when somebody still breaks in your house, you don't ever feel exactly the same again. Yeah. When somebody breaks in your house and steals your gun, you feel really uneasy. It's not that it was coming back, but in my brain ain't worse. And my logic was, if you coming back with a 9, then I need something more powerful. I wasn't thinking about self-defense on the street, even though I have a license to carry. I was thinking purely about what happens when they try to step back in my house with that little pea shooter. They about to get these hollow points from you know what I'm saying? They gonna do a full flip. So that became the house gun. You know, I have
Like,
other guns, but that became the house gun.
my house gun is the Benelli M4 Shotty.
Ooh.
As soon as I lack it, you better hit the door, motherfucker. Pop, pop, where you, hey, we back here now. So my daddy used to say, hey, we back here. We back here. Boom.
Yo, that's the shit right there, man.
Anyway, but look, like it's this generation of hip hop. Like, my favorite rapper of the last 15 years is not Hove, is not Kendrick, is not Drake. It's one Mr. J Electronica.
Here comes the New Orleans bias.
I'm not from New Orleans. I'm from Baton Rouge.
Excuse me, the Louisiana bias. Y'all not big enough to make distinctions between cities.
God damn. That's crazy. Philadelphia is basically New York Junior. But wow. But look, you don't fuck with J Electronica?
J Electronica is, in addition to being my friend, it is one I think is in my top. He's my real top five. My top five favorite. I can't justify it by productivity.
He's your talent, and he's in your talent top five.
Well, I was listening to Jay literally before on my drive home from Newark. I was listening to what was I listening? I was listening to actually this verse on Yates. The only time I listen to Donda is to hear his verse on Jesus God, Jesus Lord. But all his features are amazing. You know what I mean? J Electronica does something that I don't believe. You know what? He is who I want Kendrick to be. This is purely my own. This is content. This is preference. I'm not talking about talent, skill. I'm just talking about purely. J Electronica does this thing that is so abstract and beautiful, and he has the voice. He's got the content. Some people say it's a little too Nation of Islam centered, but to me, it's no more than Pusha T being too crack centered, coke centered. You know, like, I'm okay with that being his thing, but he does a thing that it's hard to explain. Like what he's like the church you go to pray and the work is on the outside. What do you say? It's this great line about love songs and houseflies. But it's a thing.
Yeah. Staring out
the window is for love songs
and houseflies. Yeah.
Kendrick can't do that. Drake absolutely can't do that. Right. There's a thing that he can do, right? They all can do the double entendre, the wordplay. You know, I'm in New York now, like Akeem and Simi was trying to get this lobby door open from a semi buzz. That's some clever ass shit that Drake can do on his best day. It's not Kendrick's preference, but Kendrick could do it. Cole absolutely moves that way. But then there's this other thing that he does, right? That is so well read and informed and beautiful, along with the voice and the insight, that makes me listen. Whenever J Electronica raps, I want to hear everything he has to say.
Yeah.
I just wish, and I relate to it. I relate to it on all the levels.
Yeah. I also relate to his cinephile streak. You know,
yes.
I swam through Schitt's Creek and came up clean with a new lease on life like Andy Dufresne. I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute. He's been sitting down watching Shawshank Redemption, just like, I'm like, what is he? I'm like, I understood that reference, sir, and it was very deep. Like, you know what I'm saying? But to me, you know, but he's my favorite. He's my favorite artist. But with artists like J Electronica and most artists, really, there's always a push pull and a tug of war between artistic greatness and burnout. And I think that Jay, in my opinion, is afraid to be a high output artist because everything that he says is so important to him. You know, like everything that he says is so important to him. It doesn't see, there's no fat. He doesn't waste a bar.
Does not waste a bar. He's never wasted a bar.
Right. And it makes it seem like the music is actually really inspired.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't sign for years. What he signed with Roc Nation in 2015, 2016?
Yeah.
So I just don't. I really think that was because, and I haven't talked to Law about this, but I like it. But I really think that was because he didn't want to have to make music. You know,
which is unfortunate because he's got so much to say. He's still got, there's so much artistry, there's so many ideas, there's so much he wants to get at. The album that didn't come out, which some got incorporated, but that album that didn't come out that Blaze had on the hard drive, to me was an incredibly important album. And he took Chinese Suit Theory and he took another track too. No, maybe just Chinese Suit Theory. But he put it on there. But all that shit, Letter to Phelan, all those songs,
Road to Perdition,
right? Fucking amazing shit.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think he's got enough important stuff now to at least have 2 albums.
Man, we're not getting another J Electronica album for a long time, bro. Why don't you tell him to rap?
You said tell him to rap?
Tell him to rap. That's your man. You used to rap, huh? I could tell. I could tell, bro. I could tell. See, you started stumbling. It's like you started. I could tell, bro. I could tell you was around here rapping.
Man, that wasn't my ministry. I'll say that wasn't my ministry. But this is the autobiographical kind of analysis that Foho put up about why he don't rap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like extra, Mr. Read the headlines, who signed the contract and missed every deadline, which is how I feel. My editors feel too. It's like, I get that, right? And he's explaining why this shit is like, this shit ain't easy, and he has a pressure on himself. I would have thought rapping in your 40s will create a kind of a freedom to it, right? Like, I got a short window of time, no one's expecting this right now. I can just go ham. But he really is an artist that cares about the output. Oh, I want to ask you about, actually,
what?
Since you mentioned this LL track. Have you heard this LL joint?
With Eminem?
Just the whole album.
I heard the one. I seen the one with Eminem, and I seen a little bit of the video. I haven't really listened to it. Shout out to LL. I'll probably get to it this week.
It's a great album.
It's great.
It's a great album. Yeah, it's a great album, and I don't use that term loosely. I'm putting myself on the chopping block because I know some people that won't like it, but the production is perfect. The lyrics are amazing. If I didn't know and trust LL, I would think somebody ghost wrote it, like, because of the different styles and the content. No, that's not a diss. I'm saying I believe LL wrote it. I'm just saying, like, most people in their 50s can't produce at this level, with the level of skill, dexterity, diversity, and LL is delivered. Even on the Eminem track, he's. I mean, nobody can rap like Eminem, but like he's
spitting.
He there with Busta. He's doing all the 5% shit. You know what I'm saying? Got a couple love tracks. I'm trying to tell you, this shit is popping. Somebody send in a and then I'll get to the last topic. But somebody asked us, and my answer is no. I haven't heard this album. Have you heard it?
She's phenomenal.
And the album's a masterpiece. Wow.
She's phenomenal.
All right, you're gonna have me listen to this on the way to daycare tomorrow.
And she's so good that it pisses me off.
The album is called Alligator Bites Never Heal. That alone she got me for that.
She's phenomenal, man. I'm not gonna start no shit, but she's so much better than these other ladies y'all paying attention to. She's so much better than them.
Really?
It's just is almost, when I listen to her and like Flo Milli and a handful of the other ladies that's out there right now doing their thing, I'm like, man, they drafted the wrong ones and she coming, don't get me wrong, she with TDE, she with the right people, topping them to get her right. But when I'm not talking about, it's a couple people making music that their personas are so big that you straining to listen to this music and go, yeah, I can see. Okay.
Right.
I'm kind of fucking with it. All right, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, I can listen to this song and that justifies some of the other stuff that I like about you. So you're good enough to be where you are. And then there's somebody who actually makes fantastic music, and the music is unpredictable. The music is melodic. It's catchy. She's got a beautiful voice, a beautiful flow. The song structure is there, and you like, man.
Right. An authentic version of Drake. I like this. Yeah, I will check it out tomorrow while I'm driving in. I've tried to make sense of the sexy red phenomenon. I've tried to make sense of some of these people, you know, where I'm like, some people can rap and I just don't enjoy it. Some people can't rap. I mean, I'm shocked at how many people in this generation literally cannot rap. I feel like I know I sound old now because I remember hearing that about singers when people like your generation can't sing and sing. Some of these motherfuckers can't rap. Like they literally cannot rap. But there are the Tierra Wax the world who can. There are there are dope ass people who can. So I'm waiting for them. But I gotta ask you one more thing. I need you to make sense of this to me. For those that don't know, on a whole other note, today ESPN announced that they are not going to punish Shannon Sharpe for his sex audio leak. If you don't know, and I found out late yesterday because I was underground writing, Shannon somehow accidentally for Instagram showed him his Instagram live came up. He was having sex apparently. You could only hear it, you couldn't see it. He initially said he was hacked, and then he acknowledged that he wasn't hacked, and that it was him. He started off with a very kind of sober apology on his nightcap show with Ocho Cinco, and then it kind of, here's what he said.
It was me being a healthy, active male. I mean, y'all thought I was bull jiving. Hey, I'll get it in. Real talk. Hey, yo.
I like Shannon a lot. Known him for a while. Why you laughing?
Go give it to me. Go.
I'm not gonna say I'm crazy. I don't like this story. It's not about him. I don't like this story. If it's true, I don't like it. If it's staged, I don't like it. I don't like it. We all make mistakes. We've all accidentally tweeted something or written something or texted something to somebody that when we're talking about the person, we've all made mistakes. There are a lot of people who say those kinds of mistakes don't have, you can't accidentally do an Instagram live. Mm-hmm. I believe you can. So I'm not calling him a liar. I'm just saying, regardless, this thing is weird. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is Paul Pierce was in the strip club, which is totally legal, just like what Shannon did.
They were at his house, I think, or he was at somebody's house and they had
a strip club, right? Fair enough. ESPN/Disney got rid of Paul Pierce. I don't know if they just invested too much in Shannon. I don't know if it's the mistake angle. I don't know if there were more levels to Paul Pierce's shit. That wasn't just that one incident.
Yeah.
So all those things are possible.
Well, ESPN just they just put a video up, not ESPN. Shannon Sharpe just put a video up from ESPN on his site. Go to mofos.com. Shannon's site.
You got me once.
Ah!
You got me once. You got me once. I will never go to any site. That shit could be marked on my deal back now. I'm not going.
Okay, there are several different layers to this story. Of course, I'll talk about it more on Higher Learning, but I gotta be honest with you, man. I don't think this was Shannon's finest moment. I hit Shannon up to make sure he was straight. Shannon's a good guy. I see met Shannon around the gym up here. Shannon's a good guy.
Y'all go to the same gym?
They go to Equinox, yeah.
Y'all be in the same section?
I mean, he be in the I lift all the weights in the gym section.
I feel like he'd be some VIP shit. Like me and you being one job.
Oh no. We in Equinox. It's Equinox.
I don't mean like famous people VIP. I mean muscle head VIP. Like
nah, he be in there lifting. I mean, look, it's like sometimes people need some company while they lifting, and I'll just be there talking about different things and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But I go there to play basketball in the box and to do all of that, get in the cold tub and stuff. But first of all, and I have to say this, whether or not what happened was an accident or wasn't an accident, I don't know. Whatever, I don't know. Okay. I have my thoughts, but I don't know. But let's table that for a second. The live that was done after, to me, was beneath Shannon and Ocho, man.
That's why I don't like the story.
It was beneath them. Ocho at one point said, man, talking about rumors that people say, really unfounded rumors, and just attacking Shannon about, what you think about his sexuality, whatever. Ocho goes, he goes, man, I knew you was with a Michelle and not a Michael. I was like, that's my dog.
Oh, I didn't even hear that. Oh,
I'm like, come on, man.
Oh.
And it's not to me to look down on those brothers or anything like that. But we talking about our OGs, and to have a conversation that's kind of that. There's a toxic heteronormativity to that is like you'd have been disappointed if you found out that your man was gay. The whole thing just felt like, oh man, for real. I comically live tweeted it because some of it was like, it's a little disappointing.
Yeah,
and I disappoint people. Nobody's perfect, man. I'm telling you, I got all love in the world for Shannon. I don't know Ocho, but it was a little disappointing. I'm glad he didn't get disciplined from ESPN. Paul Pierce, I'm sure, is somewhere punching the air right now. But I just don't think. I think that wasn't a good example of OGing to me. I don't think that was not good OGing on Shannon's part.
It felt childish.
A little childish, yeah.
It felt like high school. I remember walking in the locker room in high school my senior year, and another player, we all were walking in. I guess I don't know why. I don't know, maybe we walked in the locker room early. Anyway, he was getting head from this girl. And we all walked in.
Wild ass Philly niggas.
And was
it Beanie Siegel?
Beanie Siegel was definitely not my high school.
Oh, okay.
Or any high school. But what was interesting is like we were all acting real immature. Wow, he was like, "Yo, what the fuck is y'all like?" Shit, like he chilled us all the fuck out. He was a year younger. He was a junior. Point being, like there was this moment. I remember that moment because I remember thinking, "Oh, it doesn't have masculinity doesn't have to look like this." And he was a regular dude. Like he wasn't he wasn't progressive. He wasn't feminist. He was just like, "Yo, this shit corny."
Yeah.
Like chill the fuck out. Shorty ain't do nothing. You ain't do. You know what I mean? Like just chill, right? And I don't want to talk about it. I'm not. And that was so different than like the rest of us in high school. If some shit like that happened, we'd have damn near, you know what I mean? And I felt when I watched that, I was like, yo, you remind me of how we were in 96 or 95. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to get caught. I'm not saying he leaked it. I'm not saying he's lying. I have no reason to trust Shannon's integrity. I have no reason to challenge Shannon's integrity or to question it. But in the same way that my man, like, there's a moment where sometimes people walk, like when we walked in the locker room, he could have handled that a couple different ways. I feel like if it was an accident, he's not handling it the way you should. So I'm taking him at his word that it happened the way he said it did. That's when you'd be like, yo, I'm sorry, my bad. Not get it in. Not make.
I mean, really, I wouldn't have even been like, it's my bad. What is my bad for? If it's truly a mistake,
you got him my bad.
Why? Why do you have to my bad? If it's
because
truly a mistake,
for two reasons. One, you make corporate agreements to have a certain kind of content.
Well, you apologize to them. when you get back into the office on the Zoom call.
Yeah, and they're going to say tell the public, because Disney don't really give a fuck, right? They give a fuck that the people who care about Disney are upset. So they're going to say, if you want us to feel better, tell our fans you didn't mean to do it. But then I think we all make a pact with our audiences, our, what do you call them, fans, readers, consumers, whatever, to be a certain person to them. If I accidentally tweeted something objectionable, something disgusting, something offensive, or something that's just not in line with who they think I am, and it's not what they signed up for, I think it's okay to be like, you know what, I fucked this one up, I dropped this. And I think hearing Shannon Sharpe have sex is not what most people sign up for when they hit that live button, you know. Yeah. So I could see him saying, I'm sorry, I know I presented myself to you as a reputable person, as a sincere person, as a principled person, as a decent person, as a private person. He is all those things. So that's why I'm listening. You know what I mean? It's like it's Obama, right? If I go on, you direct me to porn sites. So if you went live and I suddenly heard you fucking, I'd be like, you know what? I'm just gonna text him and be like, yo, I think you're making a mistake.
I think you on this shit. Yeah, I'm not. I guess that's my thing. Is like if look, I understand what you're saying, and you're right. All I'm saying is, to me, when it happened, I hit him. Like when it happened, I hit him. I was like, yo, you good? Just to make sure. He said, yo, Sam, he's good. So I'm like, all right, he's straight. That's good. All right, the homie's straight. Cool. When they did it later on, I thought it would be contrite. I thought it would be whatever. And I was almost ready to tell him, hey, don't make too big of a deal about it and don't beat yourself up. But he was pounding his chest like he just lost his virginity.
And again, there's a way when you're private that the world makes assumptions about who and what you are, whether they think you're gay, straight, whether they think you're a ladies' man or not, whether they think you're attractive to women or men or whatever, right? There are all these things. And I think as a public figure, Shannon has been very good about saying, I don't care what people think. I don't care what people say. You know, I know who I am. Mm-hmm. He's good with that. So when this moment happens, if you suddenly have an opportunity to refute a rumor without looking like you're trying to, because it was an accident, I think you might probably just like, nigga, y'all, I told you I get pussy. I mean, that's what it felt like. It was part of my language, y'all. But like that's what it felt like.
Right. Shielding your audience?
Yes.
They don't want to hear that from you. They don't want to hear that from.
They don't want to hear that from me.
This is an example. This is our nightcap. I'm like Ocho, and you like Shannon Sharpe. We should do our own nightcap. We should do a nightcap. Just like that. We should do our own joint. This is
a bad idea.
It's not. We should do it. We should do a nightcap. Fuck it. Because this is my whole thing, man. Once again, Shannon's great. I don't care. A lot of people's mad, like sticking up for Paul Pierce, man. Paul Pierce was on that bitch wilding, man. Paul was drunk.
Yes. He always is. He be talking about tricking. He be like, yo, this is my girlfriend for the night. I bet Kevin Garnett's like, Nick, sure.
That was hilarious. I don't give a fuck what y'all say.
Oh, it's one of the funny things I've ever seen.
That was funny as shit. That nigga Paul, when the dude threw the lighter at Paul, and he hit him on accident.
Paul was ready to fuck dude up.
Paul wanted to fight, and KG was like, "Hey man, hey,
watch the game. I'm on a live stream."
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, bro, watch the game, bro. Don't try to get into the game, man." Anyway, look, I think Shannon has earned that UNC title, and I'm looking forward to a lot more Shannon Sharpe content. It's always great content that he gives you. But for whatever reason, that wasn't his finest moment, and we're not going to be at our best at all times. But
and that's a good, you know what? That's a good way to think about it. We all have that moment that we wish we could take back. We all have that moment that we wish went differently. If the critics are right, and this was a cynical and contrived thing, then this did go the way he wanted. I mean, he's gotten millions of views from it, hundreds of thousands, a new subscribers, he's selling products that, I'm sure those deals were already in place, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know, man. I'm glad ESPN didn't do anything. Yeah, I'm happy things are working out for him.
Yeah, he's great. He's great at his craft. He's a good guy.
Yeah, I think so. Different people feel differently about different things, but I watch Club Shay Shay. I enjoy it. I love his sports commentary. I enjoy it. I'm a fan. I just hate this story. I can't wait for it. I can't wait for it to go away. If that were you, what would you do? Would you have done anything differently?
If it were me?
Yeah, if you'd accidentally gone live, knocking boots. Major making is ridiculous.
Hell yeah. If it was me, it wouldn't have been no type apology type stuff at all, man. We'd have had some fun with it. You know what I mean? I'd have went live with the girl.
That's interesting.
I go live with her.
Just run toward it, basically.
Whatever, bro. I worked at TMZ for 9 years. You can't embarrass me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, it's like, I can't, by the way, and because of that, because I was there for that long,
yeah,
I know the protocol when somebody leaks their sex tape.
What I know you're not saying anyone in particular, but I'll just ask, what is said protocol?
Well, two different things. When the sex tape is actually leaked, and when someone actually gets it on accident, the response to it is almost never public. Like when you actually have something that wasn't meant to get out, the response to it is almost never public. Never. Never public. It almost never happens until someone is asked about it in an interview. But it's almost never public. But when it comes from a person purposefully, you normally get two things. The first thing is the admission that there's nothing I can do about it now. That's the first thing that happens. It's out there now. Nothing I can do about it now. You've seen it, you know it. And then after that, there's some energy to lean into it.
There's some energy to lean into it. And so if the reason why I believe Shannon Sharpe, the reason the stakes are so high.
I'm not saying I don't believe him, by the way.
I know you're not. I'm just saying the stakes are high with ESPN. And unless you told ESPN ahead of time you were doing it, which of course they wouldn't agree with, that just seems like a hell of a risk to take when you're already winning. You already have the biggest podcast. You already have all the checks. You already have all the eyeballs. You're a bigger star now than ever in life. Why do you take that risk when you literally, especially after the Paul Pierce thing? And so unless they told you to do it, it feels like too much of a risk for someone who's so wise and smart. That's the reason. That's the biggest reason why I don't think. And I didn't listen to the audio. Did you listen to it?
Of him on the thing?
Yeah.
Not really.
Okay. I was going to ask, was it like compelling? Like, I mean, was it a good representation of the self? Like, are people like saying he killed it?
You talking about the audio of him having sex with the girl?
Yeah, like, are people saying like, it's like Uncle's hand and I really haven't followed the discourse on it.
I don't know. For me, I mean, I have no clue. I don't know. I think people they just found it funny. I guess my question for you is this: what would you need to hear for you make an intellectual judgment? What would you need to hear audio wise to make you think, yeah, nigga, he putting it down? What would you need to hear?
It would be about her response.
Her response.
Yeah, she'd have to be going crazy. She'd have to be like, for audio tape. You gotta be crazy.
I have to be going crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. I mean, I didn't really, I only listened to maybe like 5 seconds of it. Because the only thing I saw was the wrestler R Truth.
There was no video you were done.
Yeah, I'm well, it's not, but yeah, so look, I'll be honest with you about what you just said. I guess it's you're making points. And I know that he values it. But I wonder how much Shannon would care if he lost his position at ESPN. Right now, ESPN is, I'm sure he would, but right now, ESPN is Shannon Sharpe's third most important job. The first most important job is Club Shay Shay. The second most important job is the Nightcap Show. And First Take is the third most. I agree. I swear to God, bro. I promise you. The third most important job is First Take because that's Stephen A's show. I'm telling you right now, his third most important job, bro. His third most important job.
It might be the third. Here's what I'll tell you. As a professor, I've had times where it was being a professor was the fifth most lucrative job for me. I've had a nighttime talk show on VH1. I had CNN. I had BET. I had this and that. I was speaking, all the shit, right? But the professor thing was still important because it was the thing that was attached to my identity, my brand, and it was what I cared about. Similarly, Shannon is an athlete. He is a sports expert. He is a football legend. I think even though Shay Shay may be more lucrative and Nightcap is growing into that, I think losing ESPN would be a big, because it also is a signal of that's a big, you can't, it's like CNN, I can't replace CNN, right? Like I can't, there's not another one. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he would risk it for something that doesn't provide him with anything. Unless he has some, how can I put this? I think you and I may have talked about this, I can't remember, but when I was in a Freaknik documentary, right?
Yeah, I remember this.
And
everybody was disappointed in you.
They were disappointed that I was in it or what I said.
Everybody was super disappointed in you and everything that you did.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm so glad I grew up in the era before all the phones and shit, but what was interesting though is I remember this tweet went viral and it was like, I'm watching a Freaknik documentary.
And you had to ruin the fun of the documentary by high horsing it and making it about, you had to ruin the fun. We were all trying to have a great remembrance of that. And Mark had to come in as the hall monitor of the culture and just throw.
And I wasn't even doing that. I was killing. But this dude tweeted something. He said, because it went, hold on, let me see if I have it. Because I don't have it, but I can find it because it's not that hard to find.
Right.
But when I tell you 5 people sent it to me, yep, here it is. 5 people sent this shit to me, right? You'll see why I'm sending it. Somebody posted this. And once I saw it got 800,000 views, and it's been reposted on other platforms. I didn't. And my homies were sending it to me, cracking up and shit, right? And what can you do, right? So I did what any reasonable person would do. I ignored it, right? Because I'm an adult, and I'm not fueled by toxic masculinity, and I don't care what people think, right? But there's still that small party that'd be like, hey, you know what I mean? Right? So what I'm saying is that if there are, and I didn't know that there were rumors about Shannon like that, but I see people now saying Cat Williams. Shannon said that Cat Williams, He's like, I guess they ain't saying you're gay today, and all these like this proves you're not gay stuff. If that was an anxiety of his, not because he's gay, but because he's tired of people saying it, I could see how then it might be worth it if you're already rich, if you feel like this would get people off your ass.
Well, it also was comedians that get flamed on Club Shay Shay. They had issues with it. And then they would come back and they would say that about him. They would say, uh-oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. But so they would say that about him. So I don't know if it was bothering me. He's addressed it before. So I don't know how much it was bothering him, but I'm just saying my only thing was, my only point was that I'm sure he cares about his job at First Take, but I know that he cares about his job at First Take. I know he wouldn't want to lose his job at First Take, but I honestly don't think it would be that big of a deal, because I think that his platform now is bigger than his role on First Take.
That's true. I agree wholeheartedly. I agree. I think it's one of those like legacy brand things. It was like, that's the thing.
I get it.
Yeah.
Because after you leave there, you're pretty much done with the sports, because you've been at Fox.
Ain't nowhere left.
At ESPN, you're pretty much done with the sports analysis thing. But I don't, I haven't spoken to him about this. Me and him don't be talking like that. We not like, but he's almost doing something that a lot of the other guys in his space haven't been able to do.
No, they can't do it. They can't do it. Yeah, they can't do it. I mean, I get that he may ultimately transcend it, but even like somebody like Michael Strahan,
he's a big deal though.
But he stays on Fox Sports.
Right. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Like, even though he's way bigger than it, he never has to analyze another down. He still does. So, but either way, the point is, whatever brand deals you have, whatever sex tapes do, they either make you look great or they make you look bad. They either cost you business or they give you business, right? Mm-hmm. No pun intended. And so, like, you have to make a calculus, and the problem is because so much of it has to appear to be a surprise out of nowhere, or it is a surprise out of nowhere. In Shannon's case, where he's saying this was an accident, that's just a lot of calculation. That's why I'm like, he's too careful of a person to me to leak this. I think he just might be bad at technology.
Can I be honest with you? I'm gonna give you an idea. This is what you should do. I want you to get in touch with somebody at Meta, and I want you to have a guest on here, and I want the whole fucking segment to be about how easy it is to go live on accident. Like, because somebody earlier said it's easy to do on Android. I want to know what it would take. I want to know from somebody at Meta. I want to know how easy it is to go live on accident. Talk to them about what it would have to do. Half the time I try to go live, it says you can't go live because you said something crazy 30 days ago, and now you got to wait 3 more days. So I want to know how easy it is to go live on accident. But I want to know from the people at Meta, can you just drop your phone and have it go live on accident? Like, I want to know what they say. If I was still at TMZ, that's the story I would do. If I was still at TMZ, I would be calling Meta right now, and I would do an interview with somebody from there, and I would be like, how easy is it to go live on accident? And then they would come back and they would say, you can't do it, and then there's my headline.
That's possible. He said
or they would say you can do it, and then there's your headline.
Right. You're on Instagram, you hit a button, your finger accidentally swipes to the side. It's I don't have an Android, so I don't know. I have an iPhone, and I think Shannon does have an Android now.
I'm not sure.
Either that or he
bitches be blue when I text him.
Oh, then he changed his number, and I ain't got the new number. Or it was blind. Last time I texted him, it turned green. Usually it turns blue, but the last time I texted him, it turned green. So I thought maybe he did have an Android. But I haven't texted him since Cat Williams. I think I texted him on the night that Cat Williams shit was happening. So that could have just been why. But I'm curious to know. I don't know. Masculinity is a hell of a thing.
It's a huge.
I mean, that's the story here.
Yeah.
Whether it's a purpose, accident, whatever, right? At the end of the day, we're having a conversation about something that we could easily not be having that conversation about, but the world has a certain kind of reaction to it. And it's all about manhood and masculinity and how we deal with stuff. And I don't like it. I don't like the story. I know people are like, why are you talking about it? But I'm talking about why I don't like it so that we can have a different
expectation.
Yeah, exactly, man. Anyway.
Think about what I said, bro. Think about it. Like night school, fool school. How about this? Fool school. Because I'm a fool. I ain't going to no goddamn temple. You ain't go to temple. Where'd you go?
I went to temple. I went to Morehouse. I went to temple. I went to Penn. Yep.
Damn. Like night school for fools.
Yo,
I'll come in.
We would have a time. I tell you this, we would have a good ass time. You know, the problem is I get silly. When I get comfortable, I talk about the same shit. It's not less authentic. It's just more. It's less guarded.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Some people want to see you, bro. They want to know what's up with these hoes. Like when they was saying that before, and you was like, when you said that little nigga, like they want to know what's behind. People want to know what's behind that. They want to know the history.
I don't have any profound experiences or stories or anything like that. That's not my claim. I'm just saying, like, why begin from the default position that because I'm a scholar that I may not have been outside. I was outside. I'm not saying like I got, any extraordinary experience than anybody else. I'm just saying I was young and I was outside like everybody else.
Put that tweet back up. That's a funny, bruh. Bruh, that's a funny tweet, bruh.
And it's like a drive by. I don't know this dude. I didn't do nothing to him. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. Think about it, bro.
Yo, I'm on it. I'm on it, man. You know, I'm down. I'm down, man. We do something, man. It'd be we'd be cracking up all the time.
We would, bro.
Anyway, man, I appreciate you for doing this, man. This is 2.5 hours. This shit flew by.
It's fun, bro.
Yeah.
You know, shout out to everybody. Tell the Zetas I said what's up. Over there, how y'all do y'all little thing. What is it? Tell the Zetas I said what's up. You know, it's funny. I said that, and you know how many people came to defend you? First of all, shout out to the Sigmas and the Zetas, man, because I'm not trying to diss. But like it's like I said that, and it was mad niggas. It was like, no, he ain't no Sigma dog. Like,
people think that where I'm from, that's just the insult.
To be a Sigma?
Yeah. In certain places, yeah. In certain yards, it was. Like in the South, it's not. And in certain parts, like in Philly, it's not because of like the HBCUs. They had a big presence. But yeah, a lot of places, it ain't like calling somebody iota, but it's definitely like.
God damn, iota, man. Shout out. The funniest joke I ever heard at the step show, the yearly step show that we have, is who's up there hosting the step show was like, so we got blah 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 here, we got the noobs here, we got the bros here, it's ice cold back there, we got the Sigmas here doing our thing. Iota Phi Theta would have been here, but he had to work. And
but he had to work.
He had to work. And when I tell you, the whole crowd went nuts.
Wow.
Southern. It was never more like fucking three niggas. But I'm not in none of that shit. So all of y'all secret handshaking motherfuckers, I'm not none of that shit. So God bless it.
You got Q written all over you.
God bless y'all. I just want to go to the parties without y'all turning it into a dance recital in the middle of the party, because we would all like to talk to girls. and we would go to the parties, and the next thing y'all know, y'all jumping on each other's backs and dancing around and like doing choreographed moves. I'm like, get the fuck out the way so these girls could shake some ass, please. Please, can y'all stop like doing choreography in the middle of the party? The fuck, what is this?
You just made strolls sound so ridiculous.
It is kind of stupid, bro.
Strolls and party walks and shit like that. Man, it was the time. It was the 90s, man. In the
All right, I'm out of here, bro. For the Kappas beat me up.
Van Lathan, everybody.
Peace, y'all. Peace. Next time, Mark, hit me up.
For sure. Oh man, that was so much fun, man. That's one of my favorite night schools ever. We didn't even get to the other topics, man. I don't even remember what we talked about or what we didn't talk about, but it was fun, man. That's my guy, man. Thank y'all for watching Night School tonight, and thank you all for hanging with us and for making the conversation go in a bunch of funny directions. Beyond Ebony is back in the building as always. Hasna, thank you for gifting a membership. Rachel gifted 10 memberships, 5 and 5. Thank you so much for that generous donation. Maddie gifted 5 memberships. Jason Wakeman gifted 5 memberships. Rolando Didi gifted 5 memberships. Angel of Redemption gifted 5 memberships. Rachel offered this wonderful question that we already answered. Model Mantha said, Mark, do you have a Patreon? If not, you should make one and post exclusive content. I would definitely sign up and you get all your coins there, unlike YouTube. It's an idea. I have no interest in leaving YouTube. I love YouTube. So far, so good, but I definitely will think about other things. But putting out exclusive content, we do that here through the memberships. So if you get a membership, a monthly membership, you'll have access to the content as well. So that's pretty dope. I appreciate y'all for even offering that suggestion. Everybody, support us. Hit the like button right now. Hit the like button if you're on the channel, either on Twitter or on YouTube. Hit the like button. Also hit the subscribe button. When you hit the subscribe button, let me take a step back. Hitting like is for the YouTube algorithms as much as anything else. We fight corporate media, and the way we do it is by having you push back. The subscribe button gives us a bigger social media footprint, which allows us to get more content out to more people. And again, the membership allows us to have financial stability so that we can do the work that we do, knowing that we can pay our staff, knowing that we can get new equipment, knowing that we can outsource labor and give people a livable wage, and so that we can invest in the future studio. All of that is why we ask you to become a member. If you want to be a member, you hit the join button on the desktop or go to our description and find the link for joining. If you can't make a monthly commitment, consider making a one-time commitment tonight. Think about it as tuition for the month. Right? We're in night school. We got office hours. Think about it as tuition for the month. I ask that you go to any of the platforms, Cash App, PayPal. I mean, you can tell I'm tired. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. If you go to Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, or PayPal, you can drop a one-time donation to the channel. If you give $1, just $1, we're grateful. If you give $1 million, we are grateful. Anything in between, we're so grateful. Any donation that is made, we appreciate and value and recognize as a sacrifice that you're making to help us achieve this collective dream of building a radical independent media outlet. But there is a number. If everybody watching right now were to donate $10, just $10, if everybody watching right now were to go to Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle and donate $10, we'd be able to meet all of our financial goals for the month. We'd be able to pay all of our bills. We'd be able to get all the content out. We'd be able to pay the staff, and we'd be able to work toward that new studio. But we can only do that if everybody gives. Again, $1 is great. $1 million is great. But the magic number is if everyone could give at least $10, we'd be in great shape. So just something to think about. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.